Are you searching for a deeper understanding of your faith?
Inspiring Philosophy is your go-to resource for exploring the rich tapestry of Christian thought.
From biblical archaeology to philosophy of mind, we dive into the topics that matter.
Our content bridges faith and understanding, offering insights into God's existence and the reliability of the New Testament.
Join a community where faith meets reason and discover the answers you've been seeking.
Inspiring Philosophy, where faith meets understanding.
I'm sorry, Master, but I must go all out. Just this once. I don't like you, Muhammad. Dawa boys, you've left me no choice. Bible's been corrupted, that should go to line. But you claim the same book, prophesize your sign, twisting every scripture, faking all the quotes, hiding all the facts, trying to keep your boat afloat. Without lies, Islam dies. Perfect preservation, yeah, that myth got wrecked. Worldly Quran don't even match the text. Used to flex science, now you back in the way. Cause camel embryo facts don't hit the same today. Got the Islamic dilemma, you can't solve that. Every answer you give makes the problem snap back. Say the Bible's corrupt, but your own book cries. Bibles are Allah's words, they can't be revised. If Allah's words can't change, then your claims are fraud. You just argued yourself against the word of your God. Injil's secret book, that's your mystery prize. But the Quran said Christians should judge by it. Lies, then your crew pull muted like it's just a game. Ruined the life and trashed a man's name. All that dawah talk, but when truth appears, you vanish from the chat like it hurt your ears. Without lies, Islam dies. Can't hide truth, can't spin those lies. Without lies, Islam dies. Dawah cries when the facts arrive. Without lies, Islam dies. Can't hide truth, can't spin those lies. Without lies, Islam dies. Dawah cries when the facts arrive. We follow Jesus better, sure in your dream. While cutting out his claims like you're cropping them mean. Crown off his head, toss his cross in the bin. And smile for the camera like you're still his kin. Jesus was a Muslim, cute little twist. Redefine the word so the facts don't exist. If labels could change what the records prove. If Pharaoh was a Yahweh fan, then Judas stayed true. Muhammad in the Song of Solomon, boy, you made your prophet a fruit. Snuggled up with Solomon and came the man of Ozu. Without lies, Islam dies. Can't hide truth, can't spin those lies. Without lies, Islam dies. Dawah cries when the facts arrive. You preach perfect text, but the proof ain't there. Half's wash, even your readers don't care. Call the Bible corrupt, but still quote it loud. Trying to find Muhammad just to please your crowd. Song of Solomon, yeah, that's your flesh effect. You just wrote your prophet in the Solomon's bed. Then the man of Al-Zu came riding through all night long, and you say that's true. Jesus was a Muslim, the word plays dead. By that logic, Pharaoh bowed his head. You twist, you spin, but you can't disguise that every dawah claim is built on lies. Without lies, without lies, without lies, without
Flip flop, time to mop, or whatever you say. I don't remember. Something like that. Something loser nerd stuff. I don't know.
I'll give you a pass on that one. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah, I'm working on it. So yeah, welcome everyone. We're doing a call-in show today with the Muslims. You guys are more than welcome to come in and demonstrate to us that Muhammad is in the Bible. That's what we want to know today is, can you show us Muhammad is in the Bible? Your Quran says in Surah 7:157, we can find him in the Torah and the Gospel. We've looked, can't find him. In fact, I just recorded a skit this morning on that where I was dressed in my Sheikh outfit. That'll be out Sunday. Yeah. So, yeah. We also just did videos on Deuteronomy 18 demonstrating that, yeah, there is no Muhammad in Deuteronomy 18. That is... And of course, but we do have this already, David. We have this guy in the chat who's been spamming my channel as of late a lot.
Oh yeah, he did that over on my channel too.
He's just, is he coming in though? Like I told him to come in. The link is right there in the StreamYard link is right there in the live chat. Hey, come in and show us this.
Show us, Fyro. Let's pull up the passage. We would love to see you defend this. We'll pull up John 14, 15, 16. Hey, when he was on my channel the other day, he shared John 16:7. Just look at what that says, IP. He shared 16:7, where Jesus says this. Muslims, look at what he says here in verse 7. Nevertheless, I tell you the truth. It is to your advantage I go away. For if I do not go away, the helper will not come to you. Now, our friend here is saying that the helper is Muhammad. But look at what Jesus says. If I do not go away, the helper will not come to you. But if I go, I will send him to you. I will send him to you. I will send him to you. Hey, Fyru, who sends Muhammad according to Islam? Allah.
Ooh.
And yet Jesus here says he's the one who sends the helper, whom you say is Muhammad. So, according to you, Jesus is Allah. Thank you. Thank you for your support.
Whoa, he's got a follow-up here. I don't know if we can handle this. The spirit of truth in John 16:13 is equivalent to Hebrew Ruach Echmet. Echmet is Ahmed in Arabic. Ruach means spirit, is used in the Bible for prophets metaphorically. You see?
He's a Hebrew expert. No, he copied this off some crap Dawa site.
Yeah.
One. This is in Greek. I don't even know how to break it down to him. Okay, let me break it down for you, Fyru. John, the Gospel of John, raises this issue in John 14. That's all. For John 14 to 16, it's Jesus talking the entire time. So Jesus is speaking, and he specifically says that the helper is the Holy Spirit. So notice you're already claiming that Muhammad is the Holy Spirit. But you're quoting John 16:13. Jesus says he's the one who sends the helper. He's the one who sends the helper. So, according to you, Jesus is Allah. So stop denying the deity of Christ, and you'd have to stop following your corrupt beliefs in Islam, because Islam denies the deity of Christ, where you just affirmed the deity of Christ. And now you just have to go with the minority Muslim position that Surah 4 verse 157 isn't denying the crucifixion of Jesus, and therefore when Allah raised him up, this would mean raising him up from death, therefore his resurrection. And guess what, buddy? You got death, resurrection, and deity, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also
I just need to become a Christian, because you've got the foundational beliefs, man, of the gospel.
And also, this was written in Greek. Okay, it wasn't written in Hebrew. And Ahmet is not the equivalent of Ahmed in Arabic. This is just the phonic fallacy, where you just go based on how words sound. Yep.
Phonic fallacy. So I guess according to them, it's Spirit Muhammad. What?
Spirit Muhammad. Yes.
The Spirit Muhammad. I mean,
well,
it's just amazing. Spirit of truth, and then that's actually Muhammad. This is just embarrassingly terrible.
I know. Well, we got some guests here, so I'll bring in our first one. Al Awazi, can you hear me? Got to unmute yourself if you're there. Al Awazi.
Zai.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. How you doing, man? We can hear you. You're there.
We heard you ask if you can hear us. I mean, ask if we can hear you. But
yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Awesome. So, talking about Muhammad in the Bible, the Quran says we can find Muhammad in there. Could you please show us where you think Muhammad is in the Bible?
Okay, perfect. So I wanted to talk about Daniel 2, if that's fine.
Oh, sure, yeah. Daniel 2. So,
what about it?
Pull it up. What about it?
He might be on a little delay. That happens sometimes, where you hear people like 4 or 5 seconds afterwards, unless he's looking something up. I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay, so do we agree that the 4 kingdoms represent Babylon, Medo-Persia, Macedonia and Greece, and then the Roman Empire?
Sure. I agree. Yes.
This is going to take a long time. I mean,
This is a
if he takes 2
weird
minutes to
thing.
respond.
Al-Awazi, go back out, come back in, because it sounds like you're on like a 10-second delay here, like you're calling from the moon or something. So go back out, come back in.
Yeah,
we
and
will see.
it helps. It can help with delays if you basically, I don't know if you're talking on a phone or your computer or whatever. It can help if you shut everything down and restart it. That can probably like 80% of the time that will help fix the delay.
Perfect. So
no problem.
Yeah, he's on a 30-second
That's a
delay.
major delay. Yeah, that would take forever.
Can't have a conversation like that. So yeah, go back out, come back in, Al-Awazi. I'll put you in the front of the line and we'll figure that out. So sorry about that. I don't know. You're on a huge delay. That's the biggest delay I think I've ever seen here. So get to some super chats here real quick and I'll bring in our next guest. If you see my picture, this is how I feel knowing Dawa guys are about to get schooled and soon to leave Islam. Good B-Day gift to me. God bless you. Thank you so much, Dawa Troll.
Oh yeah. Matter of fact, me and IP were just to give everyone a little heads up. We were talking right beforehand, guys. For years, I've heard about what's in the Alexander Romance and the Alexander Legend and stuff like that. But the volumes I saw were all like massive, and I thought it was because that's what you had to do to read the Alexander Romance. I didn't realize the volume that like Rashid was showing me was a collection, because there's a bunch of versions of the Alexander Romance, and then there's the Alexander Legends and so on. Anyway, decided I was finally going to start reading it because AP was running his mouth, and he was pointing out that the Penguin Classics Greek Alexander Romance actually like includes in the introduction, it's talking about how this influenced Islam. And so I was like, oh, okay, let me just go ahead and grab that and read it. So started reading it. And then in the introduction, they start talking about various versions of the Alexander Romance, and then the Alexander Legend, which I always thought it was like, I knew there were different versions, but I always thought it was like one thing. But no, the Alexander Legend is different. The Syriac Alexander Legend is different from the Alexander Romance in Syriac. They're completely different things. Anyway, so I did a detour. And went ahead and grabbed the Syriac Alexander Legend, which was a big book. So, but I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and read this. But it was a bunch of like commentary and essays and stuff. The actual text was like under 20 pages. So I went ahead and read that. And guys, everyone who's watching, you familiar with Dul Qarnayn in the Quran? It's the classical bunch of classical Muslim scholars said this is about Alexander the Great because it's obvious. But Muslims today, that in Surah 18, Dul Qarnayn is a devout monotheist and apparently a prophet because he gets revelations directly from Allah. And so that already presents an issue. Alexander the Great was as pagan as you can't find a pagan who's more pagan than Alexander the Great. He was thoroughly pagan dude. So Muslims have figured this out over the centuries, and that's why they say, no, it's not Alexander. And they flip out when you say Alexander. They flip out. No, it's not Alexander. It's Cyrus or it's someone else. Okay. Anyway, I just read the Syriac Alexander Legend. I have zero. We all pointed out this is obviously Alexander the Great. The Syriac Alexander Legend. Alexander is a devout monotheist. It's sometimes called the Christian Alexander Legend because it was a Christian version of the Alexander story. But Alexander wakes up and decides, you know what? I want to find the ends of the earth. So he travels far west until he finds a place where the sun sets, and he reaches the fetid sea, which no one can pass, and so on, and finds a place where the sun sets. Then he somehow follows the route and comes out where the sun rises, and there's people who live there, and they have to run for cover every time the sun comes up because it's gonna burn them up. Then he builds this huge wall between these two mountains to hold back the forces of Gog and Magog from getting in, and it's amazing. So he says, and God gives Alexander two miraculous horns with which he can go around goring all of his enemies. And it's just like Dul Qarnayn means the two-horned one, right? That's what the word means, the two-horned one. Alexander the Great has these two miraculous horns. goes, finds a place where the sun sets, finds a place where the sun rises, builds this giant wall to hold back Gog and Magog. And so, guys, if you read Surah 18, that's exactly what happens. Dul-Qarnain is the man of two horns who's a devout monotheist and receives revelations from Allah, travels west, finds a place where the sun sets, goes east, finds a place where the sun rises, and then builds this giant wall between these two mountains to hold back the forces of Gog and Magog. Now, what's interesting is you even find elements that are from the Hadith, right? Like in the Hadith, it says that the sun, after it sets, it goes and prostrates. It goes and prostrates to Allah. And that's exactly what happens there. After the sun sets, it goes and prostrates before God until it rises. And it's like, are you kidding me? So guys, we're gonna push the satanic verses pretty hard this year. Gonna delay that a little bit just because I really want to get some videos out on this Alexander issue, because seems pretty solid and airtight. And I just think after laying out the sources and actually having the passages quoted on in their faces, anyone who denies that this is about Alexander is going to look all kinds of stupid. Like,
Right.
I mean, the entire story's copy. It's like the Quran is just a little condensed version of the book. But this is going to be a fun year, guys. And
Nice.
it's exactly what you're saying. Dawa guys about to get schooled and soon leave Islam.
Braxton Under says no God Logic on, so I guess I'll watch this. That's
Smart.
true. You're stuck here because God Logic is not doing his typical 24-hour streaming. I swear he does not sleep.
No. Braxton is saying since God Logic isn't here with us, he'll watch it.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying
Got
he
it.
doesn't watch God Logic at all. So since God
I
Logic
see.
isn't here, he'll watch.
Based. Excellent. Chris, can you unmute yourself? You're up. How you doing?
Hello.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Are you Muslim?
Definitely not. Muhammad's a pedophile. But I sent you an email asking about the Alex O'Connor debate you had. If you think if I send you another one, you'll be able to respond to it this week?
Maybe. Matt usually handles a lot of that. So what was it about? Because this does not ring any bells.
It was about does God send people to hell?
Okay. I'll take a look at it. But we're talking to Muslims today. So I'm going to put you down and I'm going to pull up our guest. Guys, we're only talking to Muslims today. So if you only request up if you're a Muslim. Any Muslims that want to come up, the StreamYard link is in the live chat. It's also on X. So you are more than welcome to come up and have a conversation with us about Muhammad and the Bible. Just click on the StreamYard link. You come in, you'll be put in the queue and you come right up. So go ahead and click. Let's see if this works for you now. Alawazi, are you there? Is your delay been fixed?
Okay, perfect. So anyway, where we left off, about the 5 kingdoms, we agreed that the first 4 were supposed to be the proposed. Yeah, it's been fixed a bit.
No, it hasn't.
Has it?
No.
Yeah, you responded to what he said like 20 seconds after he said it.
Yeah, you got like another 6 or 7 second delay there if you can hear us, because
Yeah.
we agree the 4 kingdoms are what you said. So if you want to now quickly, here's what I'll do. We're gonna let this delay happen. Instead of us having a conversation, I'm going to give you like a minute or 2 minutes. Make your case that Daniel 2 is predicting Muhammad or Islam. You have 2 minutes because there's a delay.
Wait, give me
So
1 second. I think I've.
Good Lord, man. Just make your case and then we will respond accordingly. So go ahead and do that instead of us, asking us questions. Just present your case and then we'll go from there. Okay. I will read a super chat while you do that and then we will jump in. I blame Timu Mike Wigner for being late. In all seriousness, though, Muhammad, police be upon him, is in the Bible clearly in Matthew 24:11. Yep, we all know that he's right there in the passage about false prophets. But David wasn't late today. He showed up on time. He just ran his mouth a little bit, so we were chatting a little bit after before. That's why we were a little bit late. So sorry about that. So
Yeah, okay, never mind. It's been fixed now.
oh my gosh, this is such a delay.
Okay.
All right. Oh, he's gone. Okay. All right. Figure that out, man. And I'll let you. I was going to let him present like a short little case, but he took off. All right. JM, can you hear me?
Oh, nah. I just wanted to say I'm a huge fan of both of you guys. And sorry if I'm just a big fan in general. I love watching your guys' YouTube channels, and wanted to say thanks.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So guys, once again, only request up if you're a Muslim. Don't just go ahead.
Isn't this weird though? It's like the Quran gives, as we've talked about many times, the Quran gives two main arguments for why Christians should believe in Muhammad. And one, it's because he's confirming our scriptures, which Muslims say isn't true. He's just confirming parts or something else. So that argument doesn't work. That's an argument for us, and that argument is terrible already. Even if you were just confirming our scriptures, well, all kinds of false prophets would say they confirm our scriptures and so on. That doesn't mean we're going to believe in them. But two, then it gets way worse because Muslims say, actually, he's not affirming your scriptures. So the Quran says, hey, Christians and Jews, believe in Muhammad. Why should we believe in Muhammad? Because he's confirming your scriptures. Okay, is he confirming our scriptures? Muslims say no, he's not. Okay, well, what the heck is the point there that that's supposed to convince us? But then the number two argument for why Jews and Christians should believe in Muhammad is that we find him mentioned in our scriptures, and Muslims have had 14 centuries to show us where we open our scriptures. According to our scriptures, Muhammad's a false prophet. So what do we do here? Well, I guess all we can do is invite Muslims to show us that the Quran is right. Show us that the Quran is right, and that we do, in fact, find Muhammad mentioned in our scriptures. Somehow we've just missed it. That's what should be going on now. Muslims should be lining up to show us where Muhammad is mentioned in the Bible. And here we are, waiting ever so patiently.
Yeah. They're apparently in the chat though, but they, why don't you just come in, Moa Bello, present the argument here? This is a bad argument. We get easy to debunk. I mean, it's Isaiah 42:12. I believe that's after the song of Yahweh starts. So it's about Yahweh doing things. So this doesn't work either. And Kedar and Salah are not Arabia. Salah is a city in Edom. Kedar is to the east of Israel. This has just been addressed 1,000 times, but you won't come in and present the argument. What are you afraid of?
Yeah, and one good thing would just be to look up any map of ancient Israel and look at where Salah is. Look at where it is. It's right there. So the idea is actually, it's actually talking about this little hill in Medina. Okay, I understand that may work if you know absolutely nothing. It may work in an atmosphere of ignorance when a Dawa guy tells you that. Anyone who's actually willing to just look up where Salah is according to the Bible and according to any geographer on the planet, it doesn't work. And remember, this is an argument for us. We're supposed to find him, and saying to us, oh yeah, you guys know exactly where Salah is, and it's right there on any map, and you know where it is according to the Bible, but it's actually Medina. That may be good enough for you. That is when you say that to us, it's like, oh, they'll just make up anything in order to defend this claim. And it makes you look more deceptive and gullible rather than educating us on where Muhammad is in the Bible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild stuff.
Yeah, but hey, if you want to call in, we can go through Isaiah 42, and we can go through the other 3 servant songs. Keep in mind that's one servant song in Isaiah. There are 4 of them, and my goodness, by the time you get to the last one, I would love to hear you tell me that's talking about Muhammad.
Yep, exactly. Let's see. We got Bacon Z's. Are you there? Bacon Z's. All right. Well, he took off. Man, guys can't figure out their equipment issues. This is very weird, man. I'm having this is the most technical difficulties I've ever had with Muslims. Typically, they're not bad when it comes to this stuff. They're just, I don't get the issue though. So, all right. So Muslims, you guys want to request up? Go ahead. I'm going to do some super chats here. Al-Islam is about to get spanked today. Yeah, well, obviously, because there's no evidence Muhammad is in the Bible, and Muslims can't even come in and show us where Muhammad is in the Bible. At least not the ones that can't have technical difficulties. But if Al-Awazi wants to come back and try to go through Daniel 2, I'm more than happy to go through Daniel 2. That seems to be their favorite passage as of late. But it is nothing to do with Muhammad like you would expect.
And this, I find it seriously weird, though. right? Like, it's like there's an admission in all of this. It's the, you know, what do Muslims need to win? They need to win showing that Muhammad's a true prophet. And one of the ways to do that would be showing that his argument for why we should believe in Muhammad is correct. They don't want to come near Muhammad in debate. They don't want to come near the Quran in debate. They just want to debate, like, you know, Tawheed and stuff like that. And it's like, wait, you guys understand that if you win a debate on Muhammad, that's kind of, you win, right? Islam, and not just, you know, you could always win a debate and it doesn't actually prove it because you had a crap opponent or something like that. But if you actually gave a successful argument for Muhammad being a true prophet, you win. You win all the debates. Islam would be true. And you won't touch it. You won't come near it. Why? Because you are. It's like you don't really believe you have a case. That's what it seems like. And it's just amazing because the Dawa guys talking amongst themselves and talking to fellow Muslims or talking to people who know nothing about Islam, they suddenly have all this evidence and scientific miracles and the perfect preservation of the Quran and Muhammad's character is so amazing and Muhammad's in the Bible. And as soon as it's someone who knows about Islam, we say, okay, show us. No, we don't want to come near you guys. Huh. Yeah.
Interesting. Muhammad, are you there? Yeah, got to unmute yourself. Muhammad, the praised one, are you there?
Hey, yo, Muhammad. What's up?
Got to unmute yourself if you're there, man.
Yeah.
I can't unmute you.
Muted yourself. We can't unmute you for you. There's some button that will say unmute. You have to push that button.
All right. Well, will you figure out your life, Muhammad? And by pressing the unmute button, I will do some super chats again while you figure that out.
Hey, this entire thing's going to be taking super chats, waiting for Muslims to actually show us that the Quran is true. Isn't that amazing? We're giving you an opportunity to show all the viewers here that the Quran is right and Muhammad is mentioned in our scriptures. And you won't touch it?
Come on, man, unmute yourself. Well, whatever. All right, let's go to this. Just saw you finally did a video addressing Kenya Mibbs. Thank you. Can't wait to watch. Yeah, well, God Logic and I filmed that a while ago. But I've done a bunch of shorts addressing him. If you just go to my TikTok or Instagram, there's a bunch of shorts on there addressing him. So a lot of different videos. Not something I've been addressing for a while. The guy does not know what he's talking about. So I think a recent one I addressed a few months ago with him interviewing Ali Dawah on the age of Aisha. So yeah, I've addressed him 1,000 times, but he never does debates or anything like that because he knows he gets schooled immediately. Love what you guys do. God bless you. Where can I find that without lies song? So that's on the channel called IP Stream Clips. So if you just go to the channel IP Stream Clips, you can get that video right now. That song is right there for you. Club Firu is Malik's new gang. Yeah, it's definitely his new gang. By the way, guys, I got a video coming out on Maloink this Friday, given that he has been threatening me. Yeah, saying all sorts of lovely things. Where's that clip I have of him?
Oh, plenty of clips of Malik. What a dork, man.
Yeah, he's oh boy. Let me find that one. Because he said some pretty threatening things lately and just kind of exposed the whole game. And so I decided, yeah, I'm gonna turn this into a video. Why not? I mean, he's gonna be that dumb. I'll be happy to do it. So is this it here? Let's see. Yeah, this one here.
The top in the bottom right just had to move house because of what he did. He had to move house. IP is going to have to move house next. You're going to have to move house next, IP. Because you keep saying Islam is so unpeaceful. No, you're the one who provokes. Nobody's stupid, IP. Michael Jones. Your literal sister works at a school that has Muslims in it.
What an idiot. So first off, my sister doesn't work in a school with Muslims. He's just wrong. He got all his information is wrong. We had a good laugh. About that. But what were you going to say?
Oh, it's just this guy's such a dope. There were multiple laws broken in that just in that clip. He doesn't realize how much trouble he's in.
Well, my favorite thing is he's saying, we're going to harass you. We're going to come to your house and harass you and your family
That's
because you keep
illegal.
saying Islam is not peaceful.
Yeah, that's the funny part, the irony. You say Islam's not peaceful, we'll show you, we'll destroy your life and everyone around you. Oh, this is the proof.
What an idiot.
Yeah, total dope.
All right, Muhammad, you came back. Can you unmute yourself now?
Hello.
All right, it's working. Awesome. Okay, welcome.
What's up, man? So IP, we talked last time, Daniel too, but I had low-key bad connection, so the conversation ended before we actually got to the crux of the argument.
Sure. So do you want to make your argument then?
Yeah, the Islamic kingdom is the kingdom that defeated the Roman Empire. You disagree?
Yeah.
Okay, show your evidence.
Okay, well, you got to tell me when and how did the Muslims defeat the Roman Empire, the Islamic Empire?
Yeah, it's your claim. So
Yeah, so it began in 7th century, but it officially ended, like the conquering and the destruction of the Roman Empire, officially ended in 1453. And I know you're going to say, well, don't appeal to the mainstream of historians. I don't have to appeal to the mainstream of historians because if you don't want to do that. But for the rest of the conversation, you can't say, oh, well, give me a historian that backs this up. I'm going to give you non-arbitrary criteria. Okay, I'm going to give you
non-arbitrary criteria. Yeah. So give me
Okay.
a criteria that shows that the Roman Empire ended in 1453.
Yeah, I'll give you two. First is there was no, after 1453, there was no Roman bureaucracy or Roman imperial office. And I'm sure you're familiar with that, what that means. Basically, this is how the Roman governance works. Taxation, legislation, administrative procedures. Those were still existing because I know you're going to say, those criteria, it can be applied to 1204. No, there was still Roman bureaucracy, Roman imperial office, taxation, and even minted coins from the time in the empire of Nicaea.
Hold up. So if Roman bureaucracy ends, that means the Roman Empire ends, according to you.
That's one of the criteria. So you have Roman bureaucracy.
Well, then
with
that criteria alone, it didn't end because it's been shown by many historians that the Ottomans continued a lot of the Roman administrative structures, bureaucracy. Yes, they did.
No, so just because they adopted some of the procedural administrative procedures, that doesn't mean that it's the same empire. That doesn't follow because we have Chinese dynasties, for example, Chinese dynasties that inherited one another. They used very similar and sometimes same administrative procedures, legislation, and stuff like that. That doesn't mean no sane historian is going to say that now, all these dynasties are just one dynasty. That doesn't follow. That's an idiotic claim. So that objection's out the window. And I know you're going to bring
hold up. Well, based on that, the Roman Empire ended in 1204 because a lot of the administrative structures were shut down by the Latin Crusaders. They installed their own way of ruling the system. Yes, they did. They abolished a lot of the aristocratic practices. And again, the Roman rump states after that acknowledged the Roman Empire ended, didn't declare themselves Roman Emperor. So by that logic, the Roman Empire ended in 1204.
Nope. Because why? Yep. We see Roman bureaucracy and Roman imperial office in the Empire of Nicaea. We even have contemporaries. I can give you their names.
Whoa, you said that. Is it the same thing? Same thing, though? You said it has to be the same thing. Could it be similar?
Yes, same.
No, it wasn't.
Same. It was in the Empire of Nicaea. It was the same imperial institutions.
Nope.
We have literally taxation laws. I forgot the actual names of it in Latin, but it's logo something like that.
Hold up.
And it's
people taxing in a similar way means the Roman Empire continues on.
No, you see, you're strawmanning. I'm saying it's the same.
I'm asking. I'm not strawmanning. I'm asking a question.
No, people tax every empire tax, but I'm saying it's the same Roman office of taxation. It's the same head that was used before 1204, and I can show you sources for this. Okay,
who's the head?
The point is, let me pull up the name of it. Who
was the head after 1204?
You're emperor? You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, emperor. It was Lascaris, Theodore.
Constantine Lascaris would be in the first one.
No. Theodore Lascaris was his recognized emperor in 1205. So you had an alive and recognized emperor, which is, by the way, one of the criteria of the Roman Empire. Because even contemporaries, I can give you two contemporaries that recognize the Empire of Nicaea was the Roman Empire in exile. This is quotation. They call it the Roman Empire in exile.
Who calls it that?
I'll give you their names. They're contemporary writers. Let me give you their names.
Okay, but you do know that there were writers at the time that said the Roman Empire ended. When Constantine Lascaris took over, he didn't take the title a Roman emperor. There was an acknowledged endpoint there. Yeah, later the people at Nicaea said they continued the Roman Empire at that point, but you have to acknowledge in 1204 there was an acknowledged endpoint.
No, so you can bring your sources saying, oh, it ended, but I have contemporaries saying that it didn't end.
I have contemporaries as well saying that it ended.
Okay, perfect. So I have contemporaries saying it didn't end. It's saying it's the Roman Empire in exile, and you have that. So where we go from now, we go to criterias of were was the Roman bureaucracy and imperial office administered in the Empire of Nicaea like how it was before, and it was. I can show you sources for that. And there was an alive and recognized emperor. That is clearly disanalogous from 1453, where there was no imperial office and there was no emperor alive after 1453.
Yes, there was. Again,
there was.
Contemporaries at that time said Mehmed II was the Roman emperor. So by that logic, it continues on.
So you're saying that because the Ottoman Empire, the Ottoman emperors claimed and were recognized apparently as Kaisers Irum, which is just the name, therefore they're just a continuation of the Roman Empire?
I'm saying by any metric you show, you're either going to accidentally show the Roman Empire ended in 1204 or it continued past 1453. That's
can
the
you
problem.
Answer the question? I asked you a question, brother. I asked you a question because you're claiming that the Roman emperors, the Ottoman emperors claimed to be Kaisers Irum, and they were known for that, or they were called that. Therefore, that the Ottoman emperors did not destroy the Roman Empire. They're just a continuation of it. Is that your argument?
No. Once again,
let
let me answer you again. I have been very consistent. The best date for the end of the Roman Empire is 1204. But if you're going to use certain metrics to say it lasted past 1204, you're going to accidentally conclude it lasted past 1453.
So
let's be clear about one thing.
Let's be clear one thing. IP.
I am not dodging the point.
I am not dodging the point. You're saying I said that there are no more Roman emperors after 1453. You said no, there are, and they're the Ottoman because they claimed
that is not what I said. You're strawmanning me. I did not say there were Roman empires. No, stop interrupting. I did not say there were Roman empires after 1453. Let me clarify yet again, since Muslims keep lying because they're desperate to do damage control for Libiano. I did not say the Ottomans were Roman emperors. I never said that. I said they claim to be. And if you're going to use different metrics than the metric that would show the Roman Empire ended in 1204, you're going to accidentally conclude the Roman Empire lasted past 1453. So I'm not saying the Ottoman emperors were Roman emperors. I'm saying that by certain metrics you bring up, you will have to conclude they were.
Okay, let's be very clear. Are there emperors of Rome, self-proclaimed emperors of Rome, and recognized emperors of Rome after 1204?
Yes.
Okay, are there actual Roman emperors after 1453 and recognized Roman emperors? Okay.
Yes.
Who are let's do this. Okay. Who are the Roman emperors after 1453?
The Holy Roman Emperor and the Ottoman emperors and the Russian emperors.
No, who is the Roman emperor after 1453? Who was it?
My God, do I need to explain it to you again, Muhammad?
Who was it? I'm asking you, who was it? Can you give me the name?
There wasn't one objectively. Once again,
there
were people claiming to be Roman. How many times do I have to explain this to you? I said the Roman Empire ended in 1204. Did I not?
Okay.
Did I not?
There a Roman?
Yes or no? Did I say the Roman Empire ended in 1204?
You said it, but that goes against the criteria.
Why are you asking me who was the Roman emperor objectively after 1453?
Okay, so if the
why are you asking me?
I'm telling you, because you're saying you claimed that there were Roman emperors after 1453, that you literally said.
Oh my gosh, you lied again.
You literally said that. We can go back and we can show that. Okay,
I said there were people claiming to be the Roman emperor after 1453.
Okay, does that mean that there were Roman emperors?
No? Objectively, no. They ended in 1204.
Perfect. Okay, were there objectively Roman emperors before 1204? Right.
Yes.
Okay, what happened after 1204 where there is no legitimate Roman emperor? What was the, breaker there?
There was a succession line of Roman emperor to Roman emperor. And then in 1204, the Latin Crusaders come in. They set up their own rule. They claim to be Roman emperors, but they shut down the consecutive line of rulership over and over again. And then the people in Nicaea, Trebizond, and the Despotate of Epirus, I believe it was as well, all they did not take the title of Roman emperor. Now, a few years later, they started doing that again.
Nope,
but there was this, yeah, that's what I said. A few years later. So 1 year, few years.
1 year.
Well, if you're counting 1204, it'd be 1204, 1205, but that depends, okay? Because again, that doesn't change anything. There was a break there.
Okay, did the Empire of Nicaea establish itself as a Roman Empire and have a Roman emperor that claimed for it to be Theodore Lascaris? Okay, perfect.
Just like the Latin Crusaders did.
Okay, so the Roman Empire still existed, right?
No, for the love of God. No.
They claimed.
It's like you guys know you can't get me to say what you want, so you have to keep pretending I said things I never said.
Okay, so because it broke off, therefore it doesn't exist?
Yeah, there would be an end there, and what happened after, where artificial Roman states, people claiming to be the Roman emperor or the Roman Empire, but at that point, the consecutive line had ended. There was a clear line from one emperor to the last, and then there's that break. You have the rump states. You have people in Nicaea and Epirus, Trebizond claiming to be the Roman emperor. You have people in Constantinople, the Latin Crusaders claiming to be the Roman emperor. You have the Holy Roman Empire claiming to be the real Roman Empire. Then you have the Ottomans and the Russians that come along and claim that as well.
So why is the Nicaea, the Roman Empire of Nicaea, why is it not recognized as Roman Empire according to you?
Because again, you have that break where Constantine Lascaris doesn't claim the title. They acknowledge that it sort of had broken down.
Did Theodore Lascaris claim it?
Yeah, later on, yeah.
So there was an emperor, a Roman emperor, self-proclaimed, with a Roman bureaucracy and imperial office ruling an empire of Nicaea. Why is that not a Roman empire?
Well, because by that same logic, the Ottomans would be as well. Because you have a Roman emperor rule. Oh my gosh, will you stop interrupting? I know you're nervous, man, but you got to stop interrupting, okay? Because you have Ottomans borrowing and using a lot of the administrative structures, claiming to be ruling over Rome, claiming to be the new Romans, claiming to have a Roman empire. Now, you said it was similar. Same thing with Nicaea, though. It was similar. It was not the same, though.
Okay, it's very different because there in the Ottomans, you have a different people, a different kingdom coming in and conquering it. Just wait, okay? And them claiming to be Kaisers of Rome doesn't mean that they are the continuation. Because, for example, we have the kings of Assyria. When they conquered Babylon, they called themselves kings of Babylon. Does that mean that the Assyrian kingdom is now just the Babylon kingdom? No, nobody says that. That's idiotic.
No.
So the Ottoman Empire is a different empire that came and took over the Roman Empire and all the territories and ended the Roman Empire with all the metrics.
So notice the metric you use, a different people. Different people. They come in and they conquer and they rule. By that logic.
And they rule with different institutions, and no Roman emperor.
Okay. Then by that logic, guess what happened? The Latin Crusaders ended the Roman Empire because they were a different people ruling with different administrative structures, even less similar than the Ottomans. The Ottomans used more of the structure. Hold up. The Ottomans used more of the administrative structures and bureaucracy in place than the Latin Crusaders did. So by that logic, the Roman Empire ended in 1204.
Let me respond to that. The symmetry breaker there is that there was no Roman Empire in exile that went somewhere else, regrouped, and established a Roman bureaucracy with a Roman emperor. That didn't happen in 1453. That's a clear symmetry breaker, and it breaks down your argument.
So, okay, hold up. So if the Roman Empire in 1204 breaks up and they come back together, they can still be the Roman Empire.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that they regrouped just in a different place. They just no longer had their capital. It was the same institutions, and they had a Roman emperor, and they had the Roman imperial bureaucracy. That's the point, okay? The point is, I know you're going to bring up, it's the Holy Roman Empire. That's different because in 476, the Roman Empire, the Western one, was completely shut down. You're mad because I rebutted your argument before you even said it.
No, you didn't.
Okay.
No, because
I know exactly
you didn't make a symmetry breaker. You just said the same thing in different words and then pretended it was different.
The symmetry breaker was the Council of Empire of Nicaea regrouped just in a different place. They just went from Constantinople to a different place with the same institutions and a Roman emperor. So there was still a Roman Empire.
They didn't have the same institutions. They didn't have the same because they acknowledged there was a breakage point there, so it couldn't be the same. They just start over. They just start over and mimic what was before.
No. Can you give me a legislative and an institutional difference between what happened in Empire of Nicaea and before 1204? Go ahead.
Yeah, because again, the Roman emperor wasn't there. Constantly Lascaris had to start over.
Theodore Lascaris is
not
Roman emperor.
No, it took
by the way,
time to regroup and then say that.
And by the way, in the succession line, the papacy at times recognized empires of Nicaea as Roman emperors. By the way, that's the side point.
I've never denied that. Doesn't change the point. They also acknowledge Ottomans were Romans. Yeah,
Oh my
so
God,
people in
no.
yes, they
We
did.
have we have people. We have people.
Oh,
by the
okay,
way,
so hold
contemporaries.
hold up,
I
hold up.
have
If the Pope
contemporaries.
says you're the Roman emperor, that makes you the Roman emperor because that
No,
makes
I'm
the
just.
Holy Roman
Oh
Empire
my
the
God.
Roman emperor. See, notice
No,
everything you bring up is easy to show the Roman Empire either ended before or after 1453. Because if you're now going on what the Pope said, okay, the Holy Roman Emperor was the Pope.
I said
Or
it's a
was the
side
emperor.
point, by the way. I said it's a side point to prove that
No.
the emperors of Nicaea were recognized. That's the point, okay? You keep being slippery and you're trying to change standards and
No,
misconstrue what
because
I'm
your
saying.
criterion is always easily refutable because you're now saying, oh, well, people recognize them. Great. So did people recognize the Ottomans as the Roman Empire? So did they recognize the Holy Roman Emperors as the Roman Emperors? You just keep using these arbitrary metrics that do not work.
Okay, perfect. You're asking for non-arbitrary criteria, even though I gave you them. The two ones,
No, you didn't.
alive and recognized emperor. That's the first one. Second one is Roman bureaucracy or Roman imperial office. Did
And that
those
means the
two?
Ottomans are.
One second. Oh, really? So they had the same. They had the same institutions, the exact same Roman bureaucracy after 1453.
They borrowed a ton of it from what they left.
That doesn't fall. No. That doesn't mean borrow and adopted some of it. Doesn't mean that they have the same bureaucracy. We can say that if you say that, that means that they're a Roman Empire. Then that means the Chinese dynasties are all one dynasty. So don't use this, okay? Secondly,
wait, that's different though. That's different. They're still the Chinese Empire. They're just different dynasties though. You have different dynasties as part of Rome. So that doesn't actually, that's not analogous.
Okay, so you're saying there's one Chinese empire throughout all of history?
Some historians have called it that. Yeah, there's different Chinese. There's a Chinese empire, and then there's different dynasties. That's why they're not calling them different empires.
No, empire was just never used for the Chinese themselves, so they don't use that.
Then the
for
administration, then the wording is just semantic nonsense at this point.
Yeah.
Here, let me read.
Is
Chris,
there one
I'm
dynasty?
going to read a quote here. Medieval Europe, Chris Wickham, Chapter 2. Okay. The Ottomans used some of the basic fiscal administrative structures of the Roman Byzantine past in their own state building.
Keyword.
Yeah.
Some. So it's not the same. Symmetry breaker. The Council of Nicaea used the same, not some of this institution. Show me an institution that they didn't use. Difference in it.
They did not have the continual line of the Roman emperor that goes back to the ancient Roman Empire. That is not bureaucracy. No.
That's not. You don't know what bureaucracy means. I'm sorry.
Let me get this straight. You think bureaucracy changing means the Roman Empire has ended? Did the bureaucracy change at all throughout the Roman Empire period from Augustus to Nero, so forth? Did the bureaucracy ever change during that period?
No. They had the same.
Oh my God, you've got it. So let me get this straight. So when Diocletian came on, when Diocletian came on the scene, he did not change the bureaucracy at all. Diocletian didn't change the bureaucracy.
So I can't clarify what I'm saying. So it's the same thing for example, here in America, right? When a president comes through, he changes some policies, but the administration changes some things, but the overall bureaucracy of America, nobody says it changes because you still have the same system. The system doesn't change. And that's what happened in the Council Empire of Nicaea. They imported the same system of the Roman bureaucracy and the Roman imperial office. That's not true of the Ottoman Empire. They had some of the same institutions, but not all of them. There you go.
Again, if the bureaucracy changes, it's no longer the Roman Empire, right?
Well, do you mean bureaucracy as policies or system? Because the system never changed. Okay.
Oh, yes, it did.
Okay, show me where the system. Show me where the Roman system changed.
Diocletian divided the Roman Empire up into different rulers of the time. That was far different than the way Augustus ruled, than Nero ruled.
That's not system.
It is. Let me explain something very simple to you. When Diocletian came on, you have the entire Roman Empire, okay? He divided it up. You had a different Augustus here, a different Augustus there. That was very different than the way that the earlier Caesars, like Augustus Caesar, were ruling, where there was just one Augustus. That's a complete system change, my man.
No, so when you're talking about bureaucracy, let me explain it to you, okay? It's not just adding more rulers, because again, this would be changing a policy for each emperor. Bureaucracy is when you change the system. For example, how the legislation works. For example, how taxation works. For example, how all of these things in the system works. Not add some more rulers, put more Augustus. This is nobody recognizes this as changing of Roman bureaucracy or taking over Roman bureaucracy. Therefore, it's a new empire. But everybody recognizes that the Ottoman Empire changed the Roman bureaucracy. They may have adopted some of the things in it, but it's not the same as the Empire of Nicaea because they import all of it.
The bureaucracy changed. The bureaucracy, the way the legislation was passed, changed because you had different Augustuses. By your own logic, the Roman Empire ended under Diocletian.
I just responded to this, and you just can't.
No,
actually,
what
like,
you
give
did
a
is you got
response.
very ad hoc. What you did is you just made an arbitrary change where you said, well, no, the bureaucracy was the same when it clearly wasn't, because you need that to be the case to fit your conclusion. You're not following the data. You're forcing data to fit your conclusion, sir.
Okay, so perfectly. When I defined bureaucracy to you, did I say it's about like policy or system?
You said system.
Okay, perfect. The system
System
didn't
changed
change-
under Diocletian.
Okay, what's the argument for that? The system didn't change. It's the same system. He just added, he put more Augustus on each.
Oh my
I
God.
think,
So let me
place.
get this straight. Adding different Augustuses to it is not changing the system to you?
No,
That's changing how the structure and the rule works in the Roman Empire.
That's
the whole
not what-
system has changed. If you have different Augustuses meeting to convene and do councils and talk about stuff, that's very different than the way Augustus Caesar was ruling, where he just decreed things. Now, as a different Augustus in the West and one in the East, one up in Britannia, one in North Africa, you got to meet before you make these massive changes. That's a
so
huge
that's again,
system
that's
change.
policy. That you just proved my point. That's policy.
didn't.
Before it would be decrees from it, literally. That's what policy means. Before it would be meeting, before it would be decrees from Augustus Caesar, and then now it's you have to meet, and it's different Augustus. That's just policy. That's not this actual system. Meaning the institutions
Define
that are
system.
running. The institutions, for example, legislative institutions, the diplomacy,
So if they're
foreign affairs.
legislating different, the system has changed.
No, that's not what I'm saying. If the
You're not
legislation
saying
system if the legislative system changes,
Yeah, the legislative system changed under Diocletian.
that's policy. So I already explained this. I mean, this is just so
You're
bad. You
ju-
can't.
you're- now you're just making things up. Now you're just
not
making
dealing,
things up.
You're not dealing with the symmetry breaker between Empire of Nicaea and
just
the Ottoman
did.
Empire.
I
The
just
Empire
did.
of
By that
Nicaea-
logic, again, you said the Roman Empire would have entered under Diocletian because that's a system change. Now legislation has to be done by multiple Augustuses, not just one. That is a system change. That's just not just one Caesar changing policies under, for example, like Aurelian, who just changed policies around. That would be a policy change. There was an actual system change under Diocletian. That's just basic logic.
So you're saying because there's a system change, therefore, even though it's the same Roman emperor, therefore it's a different empire?
Good Lord, you did not hear anything I just said.
You're saying it's according to my criteria because the system changes, therefore it's a different empire? Is that what you're saying? I'm still manning.
Changing the bureaucratic system means the Roman Empire has ended. By your own logic, the Roman Empire ended countless times throughout its history.
Okay, so did I give two criteria? Only one criteria, which is the bureaucracy.
You
I
gave
said
one, it failed.
it's-
You want to try the other one?
I said, oh my God, I literally said the Roman emperor alive and recognized and the change of Roman bureaucracy. So it has to
And
be not just a change of bureaucracy. Was the Roman emperor, was there when apparently, quote unquote, I'll grant you that there was a change in bureaucracy, whatever that means, right?
Right.
Was there an alive and recognized emperor?
By who?
Oh my God. Was there a Roman emperor
Answer the
that was
question.
ruling? Was there a Roman emperor that was recognized by foreigners and by the Roman empire?
There were people that were claiming and recognized as the Roman Empire up until the 1920s.
No, oh my God. That's what I'm talking about when you said the change of Caesar Augustus before that. After that. And that change.
Wait.
was
You
there
said
an
there's going to be
emperor?
two things: a change in bureaucracy and someone being recognized as the Roman Empire.
No,
if
no,
those
I
two
changed-
things happen.
You're mixing. 1 second, brother. You're mixing.
Tell me the two
I'm saying-
criteria again.
Okay, the criteria is for the Roman Empire collapsing is there is no longer a Roman bureaucracy, Roman imperial office, and there is no alive and recognized emperor. Those are the two. And those are two
Right, that
fulfilled
did not happen in
1453.
1453. No,
That did happen.
because again,
Go ahead. Okay, how did that not happen?
there were still recognized by your second criteria. There were still recognized Roman emperors.
No,
the Holy
that
Roman
doesn't
Emperor,
follow.
the Russian Empire, Mahmed II. Yeah, so then by your own
Mehmed
logic,
II
then
is
that-
not a Roman emperor.
by whose criteria? Because he was recognized as one.
Because why? Because just because he's referring himself as Kaiser of Rome doesn't mean he didn't just destroy the Roman Empire, because he just destroyed the alive Roman emperor in Constantinople in 1453. He destroyed him and finished the succession line, and he destroyed the Roman bureaucracy, the imperial office, in all of the territories.
Okay, but there were still recognized Roman Emperor, right?
Mehmed II is not a Roman emperor, no.
Okay, now you're just being arbitrary.
Because the kings of
Yeah, I'm done. So, guys, had him up here for what, like a half an hour? I'm done. He's just making arbitrary nonsense. So his criteria is the bureaucracy has to end, and there can't be a recognized Roman emperor. There were like A half a dozen recognized Roman emperors almost after 1453. Mehmed II. You had the Holy Roman Emperor. You had the Russians. So you had at least 3 right there. You had people being by that logic, the Roman Empire cannot end in 1453, has to go after. This is why 1204 is the only good date, because you have the succession line end, the Latin Crusaders take over the capital, and they set up their own administrative structures, far, far more different than what the Ottomans did with the structures they took over. So by that logic, it had to end then. If you wanted to go past that, everything is arbitrary. And by the way, when he brought up the Ottomans being different people, the Byzantines were not Romans. They didn't speak Latin. Okay. They were ethnically Greek, Thracian. They weren't even Roman. They weren't even rolling over Italy. Like, all of these metrics are so arbitrary, ridiculous, man. And yet they're like, his whole argument is, oh no, the bureaucracy ended in 1453 and there was no recognized Roman emperor, even though there were people at the time recognizing guys as Roman emperors, but I don't recognize a guy as a Roman emperor, therefore I'm right. Arbitrary nonsense. This is how bad their argument is, man. They cannot show Muhammad or Islam is in Daniel 2. They fail every single time. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Thank you, Ground, for gifting 50 Inspiring Philosophy memberships. Much appreciated. Derp, yep. First guest, and the jinn are causing a lag. You see, this is powerful stuff. Yes, it's all the jinn's fault. Obligatory.
Allah just wanted you to think that there's a lag.
Excuse me. Generic comment about David Wood being Mike Winger. I'm at work just want to show some support. God bless. Thank you so much. Tucker preached on Islam on his Tucker Carlson network account. Yeah, we saw pretty stupid
straightforward dawah. I think AP wants to go live about that at 8, so you guys can check that out. We'll go through it.
No, Zoot, man. Pretty Islamophobic stuff, man. Thank you for gifting 10 Inspired Philosophy memberships twice. Much appreciated. David Wood, you mind if I email you my paper on Islam?
Oh, you can email me anything you want.
Have you guys watched Expedition Bible? Because my dad and I watched a video about the Exodus crossing, and I'm not sure how reliable it is. Do not watch that guy. He pushes a bunch of nonsense. I've responded to him before. They push the early date of the Exodus. It's riddled with problems. A lot of the stuff they put out is just bad, unfortunately. It's really sad because he's got a big channel. He can do some great work, but a lot of the stuff they get wrong on the date of the Exodus and the evidence is just bad. At this rate, Muslims may say Proverbs 5 is about Muhammad. Yes, this is the proof. Thank you for becoming a channel member. All right, let's bring in our next guest here. Saeed, can you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. You a Muslim?
Yep.
Awesome. So where can you show us Muhammad is in the Bible?
Can I have my camera on?
That's something you got to put on. We can't put that on.
All right.
There you go.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. So, yes, I would like to talk about if Muhammad is in the Quran. I'm sorry, if Muhammad is in the Bible.
Sure.
And first of all, I want to thank you for welcoming me, especially IP, because last time I came in and we had some issues. But no problem. I forgive you, and I hope you do the same for me. And so I'm going to start here. Now, I want to take this as like a full-on Quranic perspective about the prophecy of Muhammad being mentioned in the Bible. So it's important that in the Quran, Muhammad, God is telling Muhammad to go and show the Jews, the quote-unquote Jews, which are definitely not Orthodox. If you follow what the Quran talks about the Jews, they believe that Ezra is son of God or something. These Jews, they have different texts than what we have today, which is the canonized Bible or whatever. God knows if they had the Masoretic text or something. What I want to talk about is their Torah, all right? Their Torah, which somehow they have the story of Ezra being son of God or something. Their Torah has a specific person that comes before the Messiah, which in the Arabian Peninsula, they understood that being Muhammad, and that's why we have different I don't like these sources, but they're like, we have the apocalypse of Spiro Nathaniel.
Okay, so what are you trying to get at here? Are you trying to say that the Jews had a different Torah that predicted Muhammad in it?
That's my first argument.
Okay.
But what's more like a major argument is these Jews we're talking about were different Jews and today like normal Jews. We have people, for example, Imam Abdul Wahhab, which is like the founder of Wahhabism. He said that, and he said that these Jews did not read their Torahs. They read books which they wrote, and they read specifically books that were written by the jinn. So that's very important.
Okay, so here's my first question. Surah 7:157 says we can find Muhammad in our Torah and Gospel. Are you saying we can't find him in our Torah and Gospel?
I'm saying you can never find Muhammad in your Gospel, except you can find things that you can interpret of being prophecies of the Prophet Muhammad.
What can you give us an example? Like, because the argument is that we, as the reasons we should believe in Muhammad is because he's in a Torah and Gospel. So I should be able to go to my Bible and find Muhammad in there, and I should use that to believe in Islam, right?
Yep, you can do it. But the thing is, and this is what, I mean, you're reading the Quran like how ISIS reads the Quran, to be very honest. You guys read the verse talking about go to the Christians or go to the Jews, and you guys think it's talking about all the Christians and all the Jews. Nope, we're not talking about them. We're talking about these specific Jews who were living in Medina, 7th century Arabia. And they had different beliefs, had different theology.
So,
one of them
question, does the Quran say that explicitly?
The Quran said that explicitly.
Where?
You know more than me.
It doesn't then. Okay. If you're asking me, it doesn't say that. It just says Jews and Christians generally.
It doesn't say Jews and Christians generally, because these Jews believe, for example, I give the most beautiful example, Ezra being son of God. That is not in the Bible.
Yeah,
No.
we agree. Yeah, we agree. And there's no evidence that any Jewish group has ever called has ever called Ezra the son of God or worshiped him as Muhammad claims. And so to us, that sounds like he either didn't know what he was talking about or he horribly misunderstood something from someone, because we have no record of them existing. And if this wasn't just Jews and Christians in general, you'd have the problem that in the Hadith, Muhammad says that on the day of judgment, Muslims are going to be asked, "What did you worship?" Christians are going to be asked, "What you worship?" And then Jews are going to be asked, "Why did you worship Ezra?" And so, if this is just talking about some group of Jews that we can't find one shred of evidence ever existed, that would be a situation of we wouldn't look at the Quran. In other words, we wouldn't look at the Quran when it says, let me put it, this would seem like a really weird argument. There's a group of Jews. So what the Quran would be saying, according to you, is, hey, there's a group of Jews in 7th century Arabia, and we have no record of any Jews ever believing in this, but just believe what the Quran says and believe that the Quran is getting this right, when as far as we can tell, the Quran gets all kinds of things wrong, and believe that these Jews had a different Torah that somehow prophesied Muhammad, and trust us, bro, so according to you, best case scenario, this would have been something that could have potentially worked for Jews of the time, but would never work again after that, because they're gone and whatever book they had is gone, and therefore we would have no reason to take this as evidence for Islam.
All right, I listened to you carefully, and for me, this is my personal answer. These are not all general Jews, okay? They differ. Where do you find their records of, for example, Ezra being son of God? You find them in Islamic sources. Why? Because those are the only people who dealt with them. And number two, even if you go to the ancient Himyarite sources, and the ancient kingdom of Yemen was Himyarite, by the way, they were Jews. Their Judaism is also different. Their Judaism is centered about believing that their king is the Messiah. And you might say, oh, all kings are considered Messiah. No, they thought that the king of Himyar, Dhu Nawas, the guy who was persecuting Christians, they thought that he's a type of Messiah. And that actually centers around the whole idea of what is the Messiah. And now I actually want to talk about something because I'm also here to learn.
One quick question, because you're talking. Yeah, we know there have been tons of Jewish groups down through time. There's been tons of different Christian groups at different times, and there have been lots of Jewish groups over time who thought that someone was the Messiah. In fact, Jesus had followers who believed that he was the Messiah, and they were Jews, and they concluded that he's the Messiah. You had other Jews who believed in other messiahs, but you were bringing up the passage about Ezra being the son of God. So are you saying that since there were Jews who believed that someone was the Messiah, you're saying that means the son of God?
You can say that. I personally won't say that, but I can give you a different example, which we do have records of. We have, for example, in the book Kitab al-Asnam, which I think was written in the Abbasid era, so like 300 years, 200 after Islam. It talked specifically about ancient Himyarite / Yemeni gods worshipped by the Jews. One of them was Job, but as a god, not as a prophet, as a god. Job was worshipped as a god.
So
that means that these people had different theology, because we have records of them worshiping people who aren't God, like Job, like Ezra in the Islamic sources. It's totally normal to say that.
I mean, this is just whataboutism. It doesn't really deal with David's point here. We don't have any evidence of people ever saying Ezra's the son of God. It's just trust me, bro, from Islamic sources. Do you see that as a problem, though?
Yeah, and there's a follow-up issue. I mean, just imagine. So suppose someone now claims to be a prophet, and he starts saying Muslims this and Muslims that and Muslims this and Muslims that, and then as this supposed revelation is talking about Muslims, it says, and Muslims worship, Muslims worship King Henry VIII or something like that. You'd say, what are you talking about? And I say, no, we have our sources from our tradition that say that they did. And you'd say, well, that sounds really weird to us as Muslims. Can you give us evidence that sort of thing ever happened? And we just say, no, there's no evidence outside of our sources saying that happened. That would seem really, really weird. And I don't think any Muslim would take that as I don't think any Muslim would say, oh, therefore we have to agree with you because you're saying that they did it. There's no evidence for it, but you're saying they did it. And your scholars are saying they did it later on. And there's no evidence for it, but just trust us on that. That sounds like really weird.
Do you think the Quran is guidance for all of humanity?
The Quran is guidance for all of humanity.
Do you think that? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, he said it.
Okay, great. So if that's the case, if the Quran is guidance for all of humanity, it should not just be giving directions for one particular group of Jews in Medina. When it reads and it refers to me as a Christian, it should be, I should take that guidance. So when it tells me to do things like judge by the gospel or stand on the Torah of the gospel and what has been revealed to you from your Lord, that should be guidance for me. And that's not some different lost Torah in Medina. That by that logic, it should follow that I should believe in the scriptures I have now.
And let me just. Oh yeah, I just wanted to add something real quick. The other strange thing here is this is all talking about the prophecies of Muhammad in the Torah. This is all in the context. This is all in the context of Allah saying repeatedly that He confirms the book in the possession of the Jews of Medina at that time. I affirm that is the word of Allah. I affirm that is the word of Allah. I affirm that is the word of Allah. He even says in Surah 2, verse 85, they have to believe in all of the book and not just in some of it. If you're saying that Torah was a different Torah that calls Ezra the son of Allah, then that would mean that Allah is affirming as the true Torah, the Torah that says that Ezra is the son of Allah. And so that seems like a problem. That would be the truth. In other words, according to what you're saying, if we put it together, the true Torah that was in the possession of the Jews of Medina is a Torah that calls Ezra the son of Allah.
Maybe.
Did you say maybe? Maybe?
I'm saying that their core part of theology was worshiping certain people, calling them gods, like Job, which we have historical records of.
And you're saying that was in the Torah that Allah affirms as His speech.
Okay. So I see what you're talking about. Before I go to that, because we have a lot of statements before you said, and especially behind Mike. Three things. Number one being there is no record, so it's definitely false. Well, I want to say that, I mean, it's not like we got to trust the Quran and we got to take this as history. Same thing can happen with what your friend actually commented about Exodus not being in archaeology. I mean, you can't just say Exodus didn't happen, okay? Because we only have Bible saying Exodus happened, and trust me, bro.
I have a 3-part documentary series called Exodus Rediscovered, going over a ton of archaeological evidence for the Exodus. So that's not going to work here.
Oh, and yeah, and I don't want to interrupt you because I want to hear you out, but I just wanted to, as far as the point you're making, you're correct in that there can be all sorts of like lost groups and things like that we don't know about, and so you can't rule out the possibility. So I can't rule out the possibility that there was some group of Jews that called Ezra the son. I can't say that's impossible. That's totally possible. We just have no evidence. If you have no evidence of something, you can't use that absence of evidence as part of building your case. You could say, well, maybe that's true. So you can't use it to definitively say that something is false if there's no evidence of some group existing, but you just can't use it as evidence for your case. So that's kind of the point, putting it there.
I'm going to talk about that. I was actually going to talk about that. So, for example, you talked about, I'm sorry, because I'm not familiar with like British history, King Henry VIII. Right? Okay. So we have sources which are sources talking about this group of people worshiping King Henry. All right. And we don't find that source. We don't find that there are people worshiping King Henry, but we do find sources talking about this exactly same people worshiping a king, which is, in the same status of King Henry. Then we can say, hey, you're not wrong. It's not like hey, you don't have any evidence and shut up and you just got to follow your book. No, because we do have historical evidence of them worshiping, for example, King Henry or for example, another king of that.
Yeah. So what you would say is, let me see, you'd say it would be odd to hear about Muslims worshiping some king, but a particular king, Henry VIII, that would sound like a weird idea to us. But if you found evidence of Muslims worshiping other kings, it would raise it would increase the prior probability of this actually happening. Yeah, all that is fine, so on. But what we're saying is, when you're talking about they had a Torah, and that the Torah that Allah is saying contains prophecies about Muhammad is a Torah that they had that we don't have anymore, but they had it, and that Torah said that Ezra is the son of God. Well, this is part of a big picture. The same Muhammad who's talking to these same Jews and saying Muhammad's mentioned in your scripture, and supposedly this says that their Torah calls Ezra the son of Allah. That's the same Torah that he says he's affirming and orders them to believe in. So in other words, I don't think there's a consistent position you could hold while maintaining these claims. So in other words, if I were a Muslim and I'm looking at this, I would say, okay, Allah is clearly affirming the Torah and the Torah that they have, and telling them that they have to believe in all of it. They have to believe in all of their Torah. Therefore, that Torah cannot possibly be saying that Ezra is the son of Allah. That must be a misinterpretation of them. And the parallel would be, the Quran is also affirming the Injil, but then it criticizes Christians for believing that Jesus is the son of God. And therefore, the position of the Quran cannot really be that Christians are accurately understanding the Injil while calling Jesus the son of God. The Quran must be saying, yes, I affirm your scriptures, but you guys you don't understand them. You're misinterpreting them and misrepresenting them. But that's exactly what you find in the Quran. The Quran over and over again condemns Jews and Christians for misinterpreting our scriptures, misapplying our scriptures, distorting our scriptures, and things like that. So, if you're saying that Torah that the Jews had declared that Ezra is the son of God, then
all right,
I would say Islam falls apart then, because that would be Allah affirming that Torah and ordering them to believe in a Torah that calls Ezra the son of Allah, and then telling them that they're going to go to hell for saying what their Torah that he orders them to believe in says.
Okay. So I was actually going to talk about that before you talked about it. I was going to talk about these 3 arguments. The Torah argument. For example, we first need to know what the Quran means by Torah. Because I'm going to be really honest with you and honest with everybody. To be really honest, and unfortunately, the Quran does not know exactly what it's talking about when it's talking about the Torah. Because the Torah, yep, and you guys can agree with me. But what I understand is the Jews listening to Muhammad will understand right away what the Torah means, what he's talking about. Now, let me say this like very honestly, straight ahead. The Torah can mean the Talmud. The Torah can mean the Tanakh, which is like the whole Old Testament or something. The Torah can also mean, if we're talking Quranically, man, Quranically, it can mean the Talmud, it can mean the Midrash, it can mean the whatever, Bereshit Rabbam, it can mean anything according to the Quran. Because when the Quran says you find them in the Torah, he's basically just saying you find them in Jewish sources, in Jewish texts. And I can give you a ton of evidence talking about this. Wait a second, I got to charge my laptop. Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's going to create a ton of more problems for you that I think a lot of Muslims are even going to recognize is going to cause some problems for you. Like if any Jewish source is the Torah and the Quran is confirming the Torah, oh boy, that's quite a mess.
Okay, but let me just say what I gotta say, because I'm talking what the Quran actually wants us to understand. This is what the Quran is actually saying. When the Quran is saying Torah, the Quran is talking about Jewish sources. For example, all right, the story of Abraham being thrown in the fire, that's not in the Bible, that's not in the Torah, it's in Jewish sources. Another example, Adam being like 18 feet tall or 30 meters tall or whatever, that is not in the Bible, that's in the Torah. Third, fourth, fifth, I can give you 100 examples of, in fact, the whole book of Genesis, the whole Genesis stories you find in the Quran are mentioned in like Talmud and Bereshit Rabbam. What I want to say is, what you understand from the Quran is not what the Quran is saying. When the Quran is saying you find them in the Torah, you're going to say, hey, we're going to go back to the Pentateuch and find Muhammad there. You're not going to find it there. Why? Because that's not what Torah means. That's not what the Quran is talking about.
Okay, this just opens a whole can of worms.
Yep,
so
it does.
I mean, first,
I'll just say, kind of fairly obviously, if the Quran is saying, hey, you find Muhammad mentioned in the Torah, but we don't know what the Torah is according to the Quran. It's kind of, this would be like me saying, hey, I'm a prophet and I'm mentioned in the Quran. But then when you can't find me in the Quran, someone comes along and says, oh, when it says Quran, it means all the Muslim sources, all the hadiths, all the commentaries and everything. We're just calling all of that Quran. So then it would become like, well, where exactly are we supposed to go? Because we don't know exactly what this is telling us, where we're supposed to find this.
Okay, I would like to stop you just a minute. So right away, I'm just going to say, because I have already said this. When the Quran is mentioning the word Torah, the Jews in Medina or whatever, they understood the Torah as being Jewish sources. Why? Because the Torah we find mentioned in the Quran talks about Jewish sources. It talks about the Talmud.
Okay, but
I just wanted to point out. So there's two possible explanations for that, because keep in mind, this is an argument that's supposed to be somehow compelling to people of the book. But when you say the Quran refers to the Torah, the book that the Jews have, and says that Muhammad's mentioned in there, but you read the stories, and I agree with you, the stories in the Quran are largely drawn from other Jewish sources. And so your conclusion is, therefore, when the Quran says Torah, it's referring to all these other sources as well. Whereas we would interpret it as Muhammad couldn't tell the difference. Why? Because he's hearing from Jews. If he's hearing a story from Jews, he doesn't know what's actually from the Torah and what's from something else. That would kind of make sense to us. So when we see the Quran talking about the Torah and the Quran using stories from sources outside the Torah, we conclude that Muhammad didn't know what he's talking about. But you're right. We can't say the Quran, you're right, could just be using the word Torah for all these sources and calling all these sources the Torah. The difficulty that would arise there, again, apart from the ambiguity of what exactly is that telling us to look at to find Muhammad. So the additional difficulty is the Quran orders the Jews to believe in all of their book. And if the book it's talking about is the collection of all of their sources, that's a huge problem, especially when you're saying that what they had called Ezra, the son of Allah. It's like, you guys believe in that book, believe in all of it. If you don't believe in all of your book, I will send you to hell. And so according to you, the Jews are going, oh, well, this says Ezra's the son of Allah, so we'll believe that. And then in Surah 9, it says you have to be destroyed for believing that Ezra's the son of Allah. That would be weird. It would be weird for God to say, I order you to believe in this book, which commands, which requires you to believe in something that I'll send you to hell for doing.
Okay, so for that to work, first of all, we need to assume that these people were reading their Torahs, between two quotations, Torahs, because what we find from the repetition of the Quran, go read your Torah, man. Hey, yo, Christians, go read your Bibles, bro. Go read your Gospels. We understood that these people aren't reading their Gospels. They aren't reading their Torah, not in their language, not in anybody else's language. I want to give you further evidence from extra Quranic sources. As I mentioned before,
I mean, hold on, Saeed, that's not really addressing his point, though. Let's try to stay on. Like, can you address his point? Like, if you have, as you have said, if the Quran is confirming all of the Jewish sources, then the Islamic dilemma stands, and Islam falls apart.
I'm going to talk about that right now.
Okay, so just address the point.
Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab has a whole page talking about this. It's a letter he sent to somebody, and then they made a whole book about it. He talks about the Jews and the Christians not reading their Bibles and not reading the Torah, and that's why the Quran is mentioning the Torah. Go read your Torah and anything. And when you come up and you find them saying, don't believe in parts and don't believe in like, don't. What's the verse? I forgot.
Surah 2, verse 85. He says, do you then believe in part of your book and not in all of it? And what is the recompense of those who do so? But disgrace in this life, and on the day of resurrection, he will be consigned to the most severe punishment.
MashaAllah. Okay. What the Quran is talking about is you people, you guys need to go and read your books, and you guys need to believe in your books, because if you believe in your books, you will understand what Islam is, and you will eventually come to Islam. That is what happened, everybody. That is why the whole Arabian Peninsula became Muslim.
No, it didn't.
Show me otherwise.
It literally in the Hadith, it says he expelled the Jews and Christians from Arabia. It said Hadith. So by that logic, yeah, of course the Arabian Peninsula became Muslim because he kicked out anyone who wasn't. Like it's not like they were all like, oh my gosh, there's amazing evidence. No, they were expelled like harshly.
Yeah. So when Muhammad moved to Medina, there were 3 Jewish tribes there. 2 of them got expelled. The other one got completely exterminated. So, again, that the real issue there is, as far as you pointing out that
Islam will not finish at conquest. They won't hold Arabia, especially they won't hold the Ghassan and Lakhmids and all these other civilizations in Arabia if they did not support Islam.
No.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what we're talking about. I will point out where I agreed with you that the Quran is saying that is sending people back to their scriptures, and that most people weren't reading them. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, most people couldn't read back then. So in order to hear your scriptures, you would have someone who could read, would be reading it to people. And that is something that the Quran is raising an issue there, that if the people who are the person who could read and educate others, he has a kind of power over other people, and that they can't read. And so they kind of have to go with what he's saying. And that raises the possibility that that person is not understanding scriptures, or he's misinterpreting scriptures and then passing on his misinterpretations to other people, or even flat out lying about this. Because Surah 3, verse 78 says that there are people who twist the scriptures with their tongues. They distort the scriptures with their tongues. But the issue there is the Quran always affirms the scriptures. So again, if you're saying that they had a Torah that says something like Ezra's the son of Allah, and this must have been the Torah, it would just that by itself, if that were true, that would mean Islam is false to us, because that would be Allah saying, I affirm that scripture.
Say real quick, we're gonna move on, but I'll let you say one more thing and then we're gonna move on. So you can have the last word on this and we'll move on. Yeah.
It's like 2, 3, 4 minutes and then I'm gonna go. All right. So very fast. When you read, for example, one of the most wonderful surahs in the Quran, Surah 5. You guys love Surah 5, right? Okay, so Surah 5
Very
talks
helpful.
about Jews, and the Arabic word is suht. Akilun is suht. They're doing their business and they're lying to people, and they're like, you understand what Jews are doing in Surah 5 because you read it a lot of times. These people are not following the Torah. They're not following the Talmud because that's what the Quran meant. And they're telling these Jews, you Jews got to go and read your Bible. You Jews got to go and read your Torah. That is what it meant. Why? Because these people are contradicting what the commandments and the laws in the Torah tells them. Okay, they're doing wrong things, and the Quran is telling them, go read your Bible. You're going to understand that you're doing wrong things. That's what the Quran is talking about. The Quran is not saying we believe in everything that's written, and then you're going to come up and say, don't believe in parts and believe in parts. Man, again, that's like a motivation. Like, you guys going to agree with this part and you're going to perform this part, but you're not going to follow the financial business laws. That is what it's talking about. And
Okay.
that was my end statement. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming. I don't think we were on the same page at all. It seems like he was having a different conversation entirely than what we were pointing out.
I mean, to be fair, seems like a cool dude and seems nice and friendly and stuff. So totally be interested in having discussions with him. But yeah, I think I basically think he needs to modify and rethink some of his position to try and make it at least coherent, because he was saying they had a Torah. The Jews of Medina had a Torah that calls Ezra the son of Allah. And I'm even like trying to give the benefit of the doubt and saying, no, maybe it's saying they are misinterpreting, they somehow misinterpreted that or something like that. Where in reality, I think Muhammad is misinterpreting what Jews are saying or just flat out making it up. But just to give the benefit of the doubt that the Quran, that Jews of Medina did believe that Ezra is the son of Allah. If we wanted to go with that, you can't be saying that's in the Torah. So that's what he was saying. That's actually in the Torah, because those are the Jews he's talking to and giving the thumbs up to their Torah and saying they have to believe in all of it. So I think he needs to modify it a little bit and do away with some of that, and then try to clarify it. But at the end of the day, I don't think anything's going to work with the Islamic dilemma.
Yeah. Do a couple super chats and bring in our next guest because we're behind on them. They follow their prophet's example. They're illiterate and can't read obvious meaning of scripture. Hey, David, Sargon of Akkad has, in his own words, watched enough of your videos to know Muhammad isn't morally mature. He's a right-wing political YouTuber. So apparently Sargon knows who you are.
Oh, he's known me for years. This was probably like 10 years ago. I was clicking on something. All of a sudden I got like over 1,000 new subscribers in a couple minutes or something like that. I was like, what just happened? I had to figure it out. But yeah, Sargon had said, hey, everyone, go check out David Wood's channel. His videos on Islam are the best. But yeah.
Based. Will you take a Hindu on any day to talk about the Apocrypha canon of scripture? Yeah, come back Thursday. We can do that. Thursday will work. Thoughts on no evidence from Mecca before the 7th century? I mean, yeah, that is a problem. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's kind of an issue that it wouldn't be an issue if they were saying like Mecca was some tiny little village or something like that. It's along the lines of what he was saying, just because there are all kinds of little towns and villages that you don't have records of historically, but you can't say therefore they didn't exist. The issue is, like in the Muslim sources, Mecca's like this trade hub, which okay, you should have records of that. They're pretty serious about trade routes and stuff back then. So you would expect it to be on some trade routes and so on. And so there you could conclude, you could draw multiple conclusions from that. You could say, well, I don't think it ever existed and it was made up later. That's the direction Muhammad mythicists tend to go in. Or you could say that it was just its significance was exaggerated in the Muslim sources. So it was tinier and less significant than the Muslim sources have said. Or you could conclude, and I'm saying this because I had some people argue this to me, right? It was some Christians who've been studying this in detail. You can kind of put a couple of details together. So you have this story in the Muslim sources about how the Zamzam well was kind of lost for a while, and then it was recovered by Muhammad's grandfather. And so he recovers the Zamzam well, and then now they have that water source again. So what they've argued is you can kind of take into account Mecca not being an important place while still, having most of the Muslim timeline about the significance of Mecca if you interpret that in a certain way. So, and here's what they were thinking. It's back then you had the Kaaba, but it's like a religious pilgrimage site kind of out in the middle of nowhere. So, but it's not a town or anything. There's just a religious site out there, right? People people travel to the Kaaba, they do their religious rites, and then they leave. But around the time of Muhammad's grandfather, and maybe Muhammad's grandfather, whatever, he actually discovers a well. And now all of a sudden you have a water source. And then all of a sudden Mecca builds up pretty quickly after that, because now you have a water source out there. Mm-hmm. And so is that correct? I don't know. So the point is, if we don't have a ton of evidence to go on from before the time of Muhammad, multiple hypotheses are available.
We should reconsider the possibility of Muhammad in the Song of Solomon with the new context of Al-Zut. Very rude, very Islamophobic, sir. Very rude. Thank you for becoming a channel member. Dude, this Muhammad should stop reading off the chat GPT. It's clear you're mixing your facts. What Mike is saying is widely accepted by any serious scholar. Go research first. Yeah, this is in reference to us fighting about the Roman Empire. It sounded like, that's a guy, looking back on it, it does seem like he was just kind of going on what chat GPT is telling him, because he's just mixing up facts. He cannot actually show the Roman Empire ended in 1453. And by the way, historians will tell you the date of 1453 is an arbitrary date. They just sort of set it because it's convenient for our purposes. That right after that is the start of the Italian Renaissance, and historians like to categorize things. So you have the medieval period, then the Italian Renaissance. Oh, 1453 is a good date for that. We'll just set it there. But they recognize that's kind of arbitrary. It's just useful for modern historians. There's no good reason to set it there. And yeah, you could easily make a claim the Roman Empire ended before or after using much better metrics.
Oh, I mean, little side note. I always just thought this was really, really wild going to, I mean, it started when they're going to like Song of Solomon and stuff like that. And it's like, wait, the Quran says Torah and gospel. And you're going, right. Where? Song of Solomon, right? It's like, wait, Song of Solomon? Okay, so you're counting that as Torah. And then same thing with Daniel. The Quran says we find Muhammad mentioned in Torah and gospel. And therefore, okay, even when it's saying Torah, which would, the meaning, if you're talking about a book, would be the 5 books of Moses or something like that. You do have the broader context and oral Torah and things like that. So that's fine. But when you say, oh, Torah actually includes like the entire Old Testament. Now, the guy we were just talking to, he was Saeed, he was saying, oh, and it's not just the entire Old Testament, it's all the Talmud and everything else. That would be kind of a different issue. But even if you're saying all the Old Testament and you call it Torah, and according to Islam, Torah is revealed to Moses, and yet you're calling all of that Torah, now you'd have the issue of, okay, when the Quran says gospel, is that talking about the entire New Testament? And is it talking about the entire New Testament? Now you can't rule that out. You can't say, oh, we don't have to listen to Paul. He's not the Injil. It's like, wait a minute. You're the guys who are saying Torah revealed to Moses can then include everything long after that. So now you guys can't rule out that possibility. So anyway, if you grant that the entire Old Testament is the Torah, where we're supposed to find prophecies of Muhammad, then of all places you go to Daniel, and it's talking about the 4 kingdoms and so on. And anyway, there's the rock, but it's the rock that was not made by human hands. This is going to be different from every other kingdom. It's going to be something different. And you look at what the Messiah did, and that's the other thing. This is clearly messianic. It's clearly messianic. You look at what actually happened. Jesus comes and does conquer all these things, but not in a normal way, not by just going out and marching out armies and stuff like that. It's a completely different way. That would be a completely different way of conquering. That kind of fits with a rock not being made by human hands. It's just going to be totally different. But then it's like, if you guys want to say Daniel, that's 100% grade A good prophecy, then you keep reading and you get to Daniel 7, and Jesus claims to be the Son of Man coming with the clouds of heaven, who's clearly a divine figure. So now you've just affirmed passage that Jesus says shows his deity, and this is what makes the Jewish leaders of Jesus' time flip out. You just called yourself what? The Son of Man of Daniel 7? This guy has to die. So the most educated people on understanding that scripture of his time thought you have to die if you claim to be this divine figure from Daniel 7, which our Muslim friends are affirming is revelation from Allah. But then on top of everything else, in order to show us, remember, this is supposedly an argument for us to show us that Muhammad is a true prophet. They have to say, no, it's not Jesus. Jesus isn't the rock. The Messiah is not the rock. It's actually Muhammad and Islam. And we say, okay, how are you fitting that in there? Well, we need a bunch of arbitrary criteria that we're making up. And it's like, okay, if this is an argument for us, then your criteria would have to make sense to us. And as you saw with Mike, they don't. It just doesn't. It's like, here's the rule. Okay, if that's the rule, then you got this problem. Well, no, just ignore that part. It's like, guys, this is really sloppy. According to the Quran, it really sounds like it's clear. Like, how are you guys missing this? How, in the name of common sense, are you guys not getting this? No. And by the way, little side note, that can't possibly be what the Quran was even referring to, right?
Yeah.
Because Islam, during this time, when Muhammad is receiving Surah 7, verse 157, Islam hadn't conquered anything, right? Islam hadn't conquered anything. So how would he be condemning the Jews for not following this prophecy in the Old Testament? How would he be telling Christians and Jews, why aren't you following this, when nothing that these guys are saying, that what these guys are saying was fulfilled centuries later? So what is the Quran condemning Jews and Christians of that time for missing in their Torah? Oh, Daniel 2. Okay. All right. Great. Yeah. Brilliant.
Well, Mike, the bureaucrats use the same taxation. So Momo is the son of man. I'm ready to take my shahada. Yeah, it makes total sense to me too. So people were really talking about the fish while Saeed was on there in the live chat, and now he's sending in super chats. Don't worry, chat. I'm still here with you. So guys, just know the fish, Saeed's fish, is still with us. So we'll bring our next guest here, Tofaz. How do you say your name?
Tofaz. Can you hear me?
All right. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out and waiting. I wanted to get you in earlier, but we kind of
I want first to ask and be sure, because I don't want to be a misunderstanding, because what I'm about to show you, I haven't seen anyone showing it. Sure. And I find it a bit odd that nobody talks about it, and it's not what you expect. Okay. So I want to ask, do you expect like an evidence that points to the Quran or to the Prophet Muhammad?
If you can go to the Bible and show us something like, oh yeah, there's clearly evidence of Islam, the Quran, Muhammad, we can talk about that, sure. But if you want to go over it, we need to read the context of the passage and actually go into what it says. So whatever you want to bring up, we can go to that.
Okay. Before I start, I want to lay a foundation about something, because without it, it won't make sense. You might not even understand it. Okay. So we both agree that in the Quran, an angel of light, or however you want to call it, came to Muhammad and he revealed things, correct? I mean, it is written in the Quran, correct? There is a description how it's done, that he praised him, that he was afraid. There are things, but in the Quran, it is mentioned. We can agree on that, right? I'm not going to stick on the Quran too much. I want to go to the Bible. I just want to be sure that you are actually agreeing that this is written. It is written in the Quran.
Are you just asking us that does Islam teach that there are certain issues I have with pointing to certain passages in the Quran, and then you have passages that'll talk about the spirit of Allah, and Muslims will just say that's the angel Gabriel. I have doubts about some of those, about that interpretation in certain passages. But if you want to say, according to Islam, Muhammad received revelations from the angel Gabriel and so on, I would say yes. According to Islam, that is
okay. My focus will be on this, because what I'm about to show you, it's not something you can encounter very easily. First of all, we know when an angel encounter comes from the Bible, how does he approach? He says, "Do not fear." He strengthens the person, gives clarity to the message. He doesn't force prophecy. It's a friendly encounter, correct? We can agree on that.
Yeah. Angels appearing in the Bible might not be a friendly encounter, but if you're talking about like when the angel appears to like Mary or to a prophet, it's usually, hey, don't be afraid. I'm not here because that's why they would be scared, right? An angel's appearing. That's angel might be here to judge us and wipe us out for something or something like that. So they normally say, hey, don't be afraid. Here's why I'm here.
Okay. In order for this connection to work, I need to know if we are on the same page on what I'm about to tell you. Okay, in Revelation 20, if you go down below, I think it's after 11. It says, I think, let me see the verse.
Revelation 20, you say?
Yeah, you will see what I mean. Wait. I need to.
Let me put it on the screen. I'm just gonna put Logos up because that way I can.
Yeah, I got it. Go on Revelation 8. You will know what I'm about to show you, and you are not gonna believe.
Revelation 8? No.
8. Yeah, Revelation 20, verse 8.
20 verse 8. Okay. Well, then here, I'm already here. Let me just scroll down here. So, do you want me to read it? Okay. So this is, I'm going to read just this section here if you want me to.
Yeah. You can read from, yeah, you can read.
And when the 1,000 years are ended, Satan will be released from prison. He will come out to deceive the nations that are at the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them for battle. Their number is like the sand of the sea. And they marched up over the broad plain of the earth and surrounded the camp of the saints and the beloved city. But fire came down from heaven and consumed them. And the devil who has deceived them was thrown into the lake of fire and sulfur where the beast and the false prophet were. And they will be tormented day and night forever and ever.
Okay, my question is this. Is it possible that Gog and Magog is actually Armageddon? Because I haven't seen like the Bible teaching two different words. It plays a huge role for you to understand this. Trust me, it does. Does the Gog and Magog could possibly be the same word that is described in chapter earlier that speaks about Armageddon? Because technically, if we prove this, you will see what I'm trying to point out.
What is
it possible Gog and Magog being the same word as Armageddon from a different perspective?
No.
You could say they're connected and so on, but no, Armageddon. I mean, that's from like the Valley of Megiddo, where it's like
Megiddo.
Yeah.
For me to prove what I'm about that is actually the same word, it will take me forever. But let's say it is, because I can prove it. But let's say it is, because the argument I'm about to make, it's not about in the detail about the word.
Let's just make the argument. Just go for the argument.
Let's make the argument. Let's say that Gog and Magog is the same word. Okay. If you go and read on the top from the beginning, it says an angel is coming down from the heavens, having the key of the abyss, holding his hands, the chain that he sees the dragon and the ancient shaman, and he put him in the abyss. He's bound for 1,000 years, correct?
Revelation, that's what it says.
Yeah, at the beginning, correct. So here is the tricky part. So if by this chance I can prove it, I have done studies on this. I can prove that actually is the same word, because there are too many questions that it doesn't explain if you count it as a separate one. So if Satan is bound before Armageddon, that means before Armageddon he is not active, correct? Based on that understanding.
He's not what?
He's not active before Armageddon, before Gog and Magog. If you count it like this, you know that Satan before that is not active, correct?
Well, he's active throughout the book of Revelation. He's the dragon.
He's active before he gives the power to the beast, and he's active again during the wrath of God. But in between, there is no action. If you read the book of Revelation, I have studied it completely. I have solved it. I know what's happening in the book. Nobody can see it. It's fine. I don't need to prove everything now.
Okay.
There is a reason.
Make the argument, because there's a lot of stuff going on in here.
Yeah, I know. If you go to Revelation 12, okay?
All right.
Go. I need you to see the reflection. It's very important.
I'll go to Revelation 12. Yep.
Yeah. Go to 11. No, 12. 12.
Yeah,
12.
12 what? 12 what?
12. No, Revelation 12, not. Yeah. If you go there and you will see there is a war happening in the sky, right? And then he's kicked down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the dragon falls.
Down, it says Satan. Notice, the dragon has a limited time, a short time. Not us. We are not included in that period. It's him who has a short time. If you read it, it's specified for him.
Okay,
do you agree on
continue. I want you to just make the argument. Just go.
Okay. Listen. So imagine you're Satan, okay, and you have limited time, okay, because limited time doesn't specify how long it is. That means after that limited time is ended, before the final war comes, he is bound and he has no time, okay? The last angelic encounter we know from history that actually happened is in the Quran, because Muhammad had an encounter with an angel who didn't have a lot of time, and the panic you see in the Quran is not just reflected on the messenger, on the Prophet Muhammad. I'm not denying that he had an encounter with an angel. The angel himself, the way he acted was in panic because he had short time. So it is a continuation from the Bible, but not the one everyone expects it to be.
So wait, you're not a Muslim, are you?
No.
Oh, we assumed you were a Muslim. So you're arguing that.
I'm not. Look, it is a continuation, but not the one they expect. We have to be honest. I can prove you. If you want, I can analyze you. Gog and Magog. Armageddon is the same war. I can prove it to you. If that is proven,
one, I don't think you can prove that. I mean, it's in Ezekiel, where in Ezekiel, Gog is a ruler, and it's Gog from the land of Magog, and so on. And then these words take on the meaning is expanded over time. But then Armageddon comes from Megiddo.
My study on this goes very deeply. It's not something like I can do it right now in with few sentences. I get what you mean. I have studied it very thoroughly in order to actually make sense of what it talks about. Because if that was the case, the main question is which is the people who are deceived when there is no one left to be deceived, because the ones who are saved, they have no fear for the second death. Then the ones who were destroyed in chapter 19, they are destroyed. There is no one left to deceive. And those who died have not yet risen yet to be judged. So who is left to deceive to go in this war? Who is left?
I mean, it's possible.
No. Is it the ones who got destroyed? No. Is it the ones who are not raised to be judged? No. Who is left to be in that war?
I mean, it's possible. It's definitely the better case for Muhammad I've ever heard.
Do you have an answer to that? Because I do.
Yeah, go ahead. What's your answer, man? We'll let you do that, and then we're going to move on because we want to try to talk more about Islam and the Bible.
Yeah, in general, if you read the Revelation, it is the chapters are multiple perspectives of the same period. It's like the entire book keeps repeating the same. It's like, let's say you are 1 to 100. That's the time period. So the chapters keep going back to 1 to 100, expressing what happens in the period through different perspectives. So even though chapter 19 ended with for example, the Armageddon, if you go to chapter 20, it speaks about Gog and Magog, that word that then the fire devoured them. But once you see the Satan thrown into the lake of fire, you see already being there false prophet, the beast. Where is the third group? Where is the third group? What I'm trying to point out is the reason that the Quran is actually a continuation from our Bible. It's because the Satan didn't have enough time to actually work it out. So you can see the panic when he's trying to convince the prophet to actually do something about it, because he doesn't have time. Right now that we are talking, people blaming that Satan is still active, and we are keep repeating the same things, blaming Satan for our mistakes, when actually right now the choice to be saved is actually.
I think your mic cut out, man. You muted yourself. Yeah. So. Nope, it's not working. Anyway, man. Yep, not working. I'm not sure what happened. We appreciate you coming, man. It's an interesting idea. I'd have to think more about it, but right now we're gonna move on because we're supposed to be talking with Muslims. That's the main goal. So that was kind of not really the point. Again, if guys, you can request up if you're a Muslim. If you're not a Muslim, don't request up. We prefer to talk to Muslims right now. So if you're a Muslim, you can come on up. The queue is open. Until that happens, I'm going to do some super chats. So if you're a Muslim, you can come up right now and we'll talk to you. I posted this on X, David, because when I posted the stream, I had a bunch of Muslims posting under it going, haha, this is so easy to show. And they're quoting Deuteronomy 18:18. So I sent them the StreamYard link, come up and show it, and they won't do it. They won't do it because they know they can't actually do it.
It's the same thing. We show up to a speaker's corner. They love to talk about Muhammad and the Bible and everything else until it's someone who is familiar with the argument, then they don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Wild stuff.
Every time. Every freaking time. Let's do some super chats here. And then we can take another guest if somebody comes up. Right now, the queue is open. David's looking good today. No zut. It's very, very that is the gayest picture of Muhammad I've ever seen right there.
That's Muhammad Sagara.
Muhammad Sagara. Sorry if it's off topic, but I met a guy who believes Jesus is God, but that he wasn't God prior to his conception. I already brought up John 1, but I'm curious how you would respond to this belief. I mean, I would go to various passages about the angel of Yahweh in the Old Testament and use those. Talk about Jesus saying he pre-existed before his birth and he shared in the same glory with the Father. That's in John 17. So I'd use that kind of stuff as well. But I mean, like John 1 should be more than enough to show that. So hold up. Let me see what's going on TikTok. Can you say something quick, David?
What's up?
All right. For some reason, your sound cut out on TikTok. So I'm going to try to redo it. 1 second, guys. Let me see if I can fix that for TikTok here.
Hey, that's been a weird issue recently, man, where someone is like someone's mic isn't picking up well, I'll be in a live stream on StreamYard and like one person can't hear another person. We're all in the same stream. Yeah. And now you're saying that the TikTok, everyone can hear me here, but not on TikTok. Some weird stuff going on with StreamYard, man.
Yeah, it might be the StreamYard issue. So, all right, I'm going to close out the TikTok live because we've been going for 2 hours. So if you guys want to keep watching on TikTok, just come over to YouTube. We'll continue on over here. So thanks for watching on the TikTok, all 70 of you. But it's probably some weird StreamYard thing. Sorry for the issue. So just come on over to YouTube and we'll finish watching there. So I'm going to end the live here on TikTok, which is fine by me because that's really annoying. Freaking TikTok, man. God bless you guys. Thanks for defending Christianity. Thank you, Child of God, for the generous super chat. Much appreciated. Thank you also for becoming a channel member. Thank you, Polish Pitor, for gifting 10 Inspiring Philosophy memberships. IP and DW, the awesome dynamic duo. God bless you. Thank you so much. Dear Muslims, arrogance and repetition are not what constitutes a winning argument. They're too arrogant to understand you.
But it is in Islam. Oh, by the way, little side note, I'm not even joking when I say that. You see that in the Muslim sources, right? You'll see that people are impressed. Like in Ibn Ishaq, this is during the time of Muhammad, but you have the story of Mu'ayyisa and Hu'ayyisa. They're two brothers, and one of them converts to Islam, and then Muhammad orders him to go start killing people, and he goes out and kills a Jewish friend of the family. And his brother goes, "What are you doing, man? This guy's part of like our family's livelihood, and you just went out and killed him." And his brother goes, if Muhammad ordered me to kill you, I kill you too. And he goes, "Wow, this must be a great religion." And he converts. They're impressed by that. Like, oh, you sat around eating Doritos our entire life while we're watching cartoons, and all of a sudden Muhammad comes along, you're ready to go kill over it. This must be the truth, right? That's for some reason was impressive to them. And then after Muhammad dies, you had Abu Bakr, first of the rightly guided caliphs. You had all these people who left Islam after Muhammad died, because the only reason they were Islam is because they were scared of Muhammad. But some of them didn't leave Islam. They didn't reject belief in Islam. They just said, we don't have to pay zakat the way Abu Bakr says it. We can just give charity on our own and stuff. We don't have to pay you. Abu Bakr says, "Nope, I'm coming to kill you. You're all apostates. If you're not doing everything I say, you're not following your Muslim leader, and you're apostates, I'm coming to kill you." And anyway, Umar objects, and he's like, what are you doing, man? Muhammad said there are only 3 reasons you can kill a Muslim. You can, it can be adultery, it can be for killing another Muslim, and therefore he's executed, or leaving Islam. These guys aren't leaving Islam, they're just not paying you zakat properly. And Abu Bakr, no, I'm putting them in the apostate category. But then you get this interesting part where Umar says, "I could tell by the heaving of his chest that he was right." It's like, wait a minute, you're quoting Muhammad, but you can tell by how excited this guy's getting and how he's like becoming enraged over it that he must be right. But they had this idea that if you become really enraged and aggressive over something, it's because you have the truth. And if you're calm, it's deep down, do you really even believe it?
Pretty stupid. If Chinese dynasties are different empires, then Ottomans didn't go back to Muhammad. The Abbasids are not from the same region or people group as the Ottomans. That's a good point. If he wants to say that what's the guy Muhammad earlier was saying, well, the Chinese dynasties are all different. They're not the same, and therefore the Roman Empire and the Ottomans are different by that metric. Okay, well then the original Islamic Empire was ended. It was taken over by the Umayyads, which was taken over by the Abbasids, which was taken over by the Ottomans. Why do these all get to be the same empires when they are distinctly called different empires? So that doesn't, good point. That's another good point.
And yeah, I mean, you tended to have one like main caliphate, but you had all these like competing areas and competing caliphates and so on sometimes. So
that's true. Yeah. The Fatimids, was that what they were called in Egypt? Fatimids?
You had those guys down there. And then you'd have situations where Yeah, like the Abbasids, they lasted a long time, but they didn't really have power for a while, and they were just kind of figureheads and so on. And so it's a giant mess. But yeah, if you're sort of demanding some level of like continuity and so on, no, these groups were conquered by other groups and replaced by other groups. And
what do you think of re-immigration in Europe? Is that what does that refer to? Kicking people out?
yeah, I think that's like if you came from Syria and you're in Germany, well, now you can go back to Syria because if you, in theory, if you left during the Syrian civil war, you were afraid of Assad. Okay, Assad's gone. Now you have Sunnis there. So why wouldn't you go back?
Because they're there to conquer. They can't leave if they're going to conquer Europe. That's the real truth, man. That's what it's all about. The bureauccy changed from the
Side note, Syria said that. The Syrian leader said, we don't want these guys back. We want them. We want them where they are for future plans.
Right. Exactly. The bureaucracy changed from a military Latin structure to a civilian Greek one. That's just a fact. Yeah, that's another time when the bureaucracy of the Roman Empire changed. Like it changed, like Constantine changed it. Diocletian changed it. Theodosius changed it. I mean, like, it changed so much. The idea that the bureaucracy didn't change until 1453 is just absurd. It's absolutely absurd. It changed in 1204 for many reasons, very similar to what the Ottomans did. But again, these guys need Islam to end the Roman Empire, so they have to make these arbitrary rules, these ad hoc reasons that it ended there and could not have ended earlier, and they have no clear, definable metric. Do one more super chat, then I'll take our next guest here. The provincial governor system was completely overhauled by Diocletian as well as taxation. Historians can't even call it a different empire that entered under the 3rd century crisis and merged under Diocletian. Yeah, I mean, the 3rd century crisis, so in the 200s, Roman Empire went through a crisis, no other word to put it. It comes out of that. It keeps Aurelian tries to stabilize it. He gets assassinated. It really doesn't stabilize till Diocletian. And that is so different than the empire that existed before the 3rd century crisis. So that's a really, really good point. Yeah, and that's what I was trying to bring up to him, but he couldn't handle it because he didn't understand the actual argument. Thank you so much for becoming a channel member. All right, short clue. Can you hear me? Gotta unmute yourself if you're there.
Hello.
Hello. Are you Muslim?
No, I'm agnostic.
You're agnostic. Okay. Well, today we're talking about Muslims and if they can show Muhammad in the Bible. Is that what you wanted to talk about or something else?
Yeah, but I don't find Muhammad in Bible.
Yeah, we don't either, except for prophecies about false prophets coming.
Okay, let me tell.
What'd you call in for, man?
They probably just wanted to talk about something.
So, okay, first of all, one question, Mane. Are you Muslim?
No, we are Christians.
Oh, I am also agnostic. But many people said that Muhammad in Bible. But is there any verse who is saying Muhammad?
I'm having a hard time understanding you, man, and you're not really even.
Yeah, didn't even know weird. If we were Christians or Muslims or not. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Muslims, if you want to come up and show Muhammad's in the Bible, please do. Because so far you guys have failed today and you can't actually prove Islam is true. If Muhammad's not in the Bible, Islam is false because Surah 7:157 is false. So way to go in showing that Islam is false today. The U.S. bureaucracy has changed drastically since its founding. It changed drastically in the 1930s alone. Yep. Julius Caesar changed the Roman system from a republic to an empire. Yep, I would grant that that's when the empire started, Julius Caesar, and then it sort of like becomes into its fruition under Augustus. But I mean, I didn't bring up that example because that would be a republic earlier. It would have been a different system entirely. So that's not really the empire yet. It's a policy change when you do it, a system change when they do it. Muslim logic. Yeah, that's pretty much it. When I point out there was a change in the Roman Empire, he's like, well, that's a policy change. No, it's a bureaucratic change. It's a system change, but it refutes his argument, so he's got to panic and just relabel it as something. ChatGPT, peace be upon her, says the Roman bureaucracy changed 4 times under Augustus and Claudius, Diocletian, and Constantine. Yep. I mean, it changed even after that. I mean, there was a lot of changes. It was hard. By the time you get to 1204, it was hardly the same Roman Empire. The only reason I set that as the end date is because you have a consecutive line of Roman emperors, one handing it off to the next, one handing off to the next. Not always willingly, but you still have that line going on. So, yeah. Any plans to react or correct MythVision's video on West Huff? I do not have plans, but when I go to Florida in June, I'm going to hang out with MythVision and we should record an interview. So if we get a chance to bring up stuff there on that topic, maybe I will. Brought up the Al-Zut in the comments of James White's recent debate with Shabir Ali. Muslims coping in comments saying they were spirits. It doesn't really solve the issue. In Islam, jinns can copulate. It doesn't mean anything. Like what?
Yeah, and keep in mind, you want to say spirits. That's not entirely correct. The jinns are physical. They can be invisible. And so, if you want to say they rode him all night long, well, that wouldn't explain where Muhammad got the strength of 30 men. He didn't say he had the strength of 30 jinn. So, yeah, guys, you have multiple interpretations. So you have one that he was out there with the men of Al-Zut and they banged him. And then later Muslims said, we're embarrassed by this. So they made it like jinn. And he's preaching to the jinn and so on. But as just saying, no, these Zut were actually jinn, that doesn't make things better because you're still stuck with, if it's a person and an animal, then the word means riding like you ride a horse. If you're talking about a person and another person, it refers to sex. And therefore, it would be the jinn having sex with him and Muhammad being empowered by these jinn who are banging him. But Raymond Ibrahim has pointed out that there is another secondary meaning of this word for ridden. If it refers to something demonic, it means possessed. You could be possessed by something and say that like the demon is riding you and controlling you and stuff like that. It's used of like demonic possession. So if you want to say jinn, fine. Then he was getting banged by jinn, or he was possessed. The thing is, it says he returned to Ibn Masud in pain from them riding him all night long. So it says they did something to him physically. So
it's very weird, man. It's just a weird thing. And if you take the most charitable reading, it still doesn't sound good. I mean, like it is ridiculous.
I have to say it is funny if it's James White debating Shabir Ali and people start talking about the old.
I wouldn't expect intellectual titans to come from 1400 years of cousin marriage, hence the troglodytes who ended up calling in the troglodytes. Listen, I don't even know what that means. Now I'm confused.
What are you confused by? Troglodytes?
Is it cave goers? People who dwell in caves? Man. Oh, okay. Yeah. Never really used the term. So, yep. Speaking of cousin marriage, let me show you something I found on TikTok last night. This is pretty wild stuff here. Here it is.
Marriage is preferred in Islam. Allah has allowed it in the Quran. The Prophet ﷺ married his daughters to their cousins. And cousin marriage stops external agendas from entering into Islamic civilization. Just look at what Qasem did. Just because Suleiman the simp, I call him Suleiman the simp, not Suleiman the magnificent, Suleiman the simp, was not wise enough to marry a Turkish woman. Cousin
marriage is preferred in Islam, guys. It's the way to go. Wow. We want our family trees in Islam to look like straight lines. That's what we want.
Well, and there's Daniel Hakikachu pointed out that there's a good reason. It does lower IQs enough to where people will be less inclined to leave Islam because they can't understand anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, there you go. They don't want outside agendas coming into Islam, guys. They're all
Priorities, man.
against advancements, innovations. They don't want that in Islam. They want to keep things in the 7th century and stupid with declining IQs. You know, the funny thing is when Daniel Kikichu said he wanted a good 80, 90 IQ in Islam, you guys don't understand. IQ is a moving metric. The average IQ of Earth will always be 100. If we got smarter, it doesn't mean, oh, the average IQ becomes 110. The average is always 100. It just means that if people got smarter in 50 years, it just means the people that have 100 IQ now by today's standard would have like 90 IQ by like 50-year standards. So by Daniel Kikichu saying he wants Muslim nations to have like a good 90, 80 IQ, he's so stupid. He didn't realize he wants them to always be below average. He always wants them to be inferior to non-Muslims. It shows you how little he knows. Guys, come on. Clearly, Muhammad is in the Bible, Matthew 7:15-17 and Deuteronomy 18:20. So Islamophobic. This is true. I didn't think of it like that. That's a good point.
Good passages. Good point. Yep. Muhammad is in the Bible. We stand correct.
Grayscale, where's Waldo's shirt with a reverse Hitler mustache? This has to be a character. Oh, is he talking about Saeed that was in here earlier? Is that what this is referring to? Yeah. I guess you could say. I thought he looked like an Italian villain from an old cartoon or something. That's what I was thinking. He's got the little pencil mustache there. According to the Quran 546, Jesus confirmed the Torah between his hands. So the 1st century Torah in Palestine must have been the same as the 7th century Torah in Medina, the Torah of today. Yeah, it's a weird theory when you have that John Fontaine argument, because you have to believe that God gave Moses a Torah, and then the Jews rejected it, made their own, and then it was lost, and then Jesus was retaught the Torah by Allah and also taught the gospel. Then they were lost, but somehow survived in Medina for 700 years. No church father talked about them. So they're in that one city. They're completely rejected by all of Jesus's followers. I don't know why you reject books Jesus had. Then they're there when Muhammad's there. They're using to prove Muhammad. Then the moment they have the Quran, they just lose them again. Like, this is such a weird ad hoc theory. It is beyond absurd.
Makes perfect sense.
Makes perfect sense. Jay, go ahead.
Oh, no. I just wanted to point out like the insanity of that. What their idea is, if we can come up with in our minds any possible way to interpret anything, then that's good enough for us. When, wait a minute, this argument is supposedly for us. We're not going with your stretches of the imagination here. Yeah.
Hey, Jay, can you hear us?
Yo.
Yep. Are you Muslim?
No.
What are you, Christian?
Yes, I'm a Christian. I'm just here to say that Muhammad is a pedophile.
Thanks for coming, man. Once again, guys, only request if you're a Muslim.
But
it's funny.
He's got a point, though. He's got a point. That was true. But yeah, not our topic.
Yeah. Guys, it's funny to me that Muslims can't come defend their this should be easy. The Quran says his description's in there. Why is it so hard to show Muhammad's in the Bible? We got like 1,200 people watching. People are waiting. They want to see Muhammad in the Bible, and Muslims can't come up and do it. It shows you they're getting desperate and they're scared and they know they can't actually do this. So they don't want to come in because they know they'll get destroyed. Is that really what's going on, Muslims? This is the message you want to send to the world? How scared you are? Get a golden opportunity and you can't come in and do it. Oh, paying my jizya for Oscar the Fish. Oscar the Fish thanks you for sure. Muslim Blue Clues made case for Quran copying the Talmud. I don't know who that is. Muslim Blues Clues. Don't know who that is.
Make case for Quran copying to. Oh, I think they're talking. Oh, because he looks like he's a young guy like in that Blues Clues show.
Oh,
I think he's saying that. I think it's calling Saeed Muslim Blues Clues. That's not a diss. That's
no. Wonderful video, brothers. David, please read my comment. I will leave under video after live ends. It won't fit here. God bless. David remembers he will.
If I remember, I will.
Thank you, Walk with Logos, for becoming a channel member. Don't worry, chat. I'm still here with you. That's true. Oscar the Fish never leaves. He is going to be here. The Fish is better than Abdul. Very rude. Very rude. Big fan of you guys. I'm a Romanian. Today I started my own TikTok account where I fight against the Islamic Dawah wave that we have in Romania. Good. We want to see more of that. Keep doing it. We need. Are you doing it in Romanian and in that language so people over there can understand it? I would encourage it because we need more anti-Islam stuff going out into the other parts of the world.
And little side note, most of us are cool with you taking our stuff and translating it. You can, and if there's any point I ever make that you like, you feel totally free to translate it, re-record it in your own language, post it. You do not, we do not care about credit or anything else. Just get the info. Get the info out there.
Do it. Do it.
Do it.
Why do atheists tend to pull biblical scripture out of context? Is it because of fear or what reason? It seems like a consistent and obvious pattern. I mean, I feel like a lot of people do that. It's just a human symptom. We all sort of have this issue where we want to take something. Oh, if I take this verse out of the Bible, I can use it against the Bible. Like I'll see Alex O'Connor, for example, constantly saying, "What day did Jesus die?" The synoptics say it was on Friday, but John clearly says Thursday. Lie. If you read all of John 19, it clearly says the bodies were on the cross until evening, when the Jews demanded they be taken down. The legs need to be broken. So because the Sabbath was starting, that's in John 19. So he's clearly saying that he was crucified on Friday if the Sabbath is about to start. So could be that. I don't know. Thank you for the super sticker. Thanks for a direction. His response to John 1 was the Logos is just the idea God, the Father, used to create the universe, which is just complete nonsense if you read the chapter. The Logos is the Word. The Logos is God. And then the Logos becomes flesh. There's a great example to go with the prior super chat of people just taking scripture out of context. This is a clear example of someone doing that. They don't want Jesus to be God, so they just say he isn't, and then they ignore the rest of the chapter where the Word is God, the Word becomes flesh and dwells among us, and we behold his glory, all that beautiful stuff. So if people have a conclusion, they'll take scripture out of context to make it fit. This is discrimination. Why do I have to be a Muslim to talk to you? That's it. I'm going to take my Shahada. Zut. Hello. Powerful stuff there. Powerful stuff.
Hey, what's up, Ida?
Perry the Platypus knows Revelation. Thank you. Daniel Pikachu calls banning cousin marriage an atheist value. Yeah, that was one of the dumbest things he ever said there. I mean, like, bro, it's cousin marriage, man. It's like, we know this is a problem. Like, and it's kind of gross. If you're looking at your cousin and getting excited, you need to see a therapist. I mean, like, it's just not right, man. It's not right. Do you guys ever feel drained?
Kind of rough, though, because Muhammad married his first cousin.
He married his first cousin, married his daughters to his first cousin. Very gross. Do you guys ever feel drained after talking with people that don't listen? Because I sometimes feel that way, mostly because I'm constantly thinking of other ways to refute what they said after. I mean, sometimes. I mean, when you're in the moment, you're not gonna be able to think of every possible thing. So there's always gonna be that hindsight moment where you're like, I could have said this, could have said that. That everyone does that. I don't let that get to me because I just understand that's human nature. That's just the way it is. The more you think about stuff, the more arguments you have against it. But if you can't present a good argument in the conversation itself, it kind of shows you how bad it is. That's just the way it is. I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, sometimes I just feel drained from talking to people in general. What's the most charitable interpretation of the catechism when it says, and I'm paraphrasing, that Muslims and Christians adore the one God? God bless. Well, I mean, that's a Catholic idea that they do actually, the Muslims do worship the real God. They just understand everything wrong about him. Like they have an idea of God that is the one true God, but they get all the information wrong about him. Muhammad is not his prophet. He is a Trinity. So that's what they say. And we would say, no, it seems more likely that they're worshiping some demonic entity of some sort. But that's part of the Catholic teachings. And not all Catholics even agree. For example, Ish of Arabia says Christians and Muslims do not worship the same God, and he is a Catholic. So I don't think it's necessary. Why focus more on Islam rather than Mormons? Yeah, David, why do we focus on Islam more than Mormonism?
Well, you have about 2 billion Muslims in the world, and the ideology calls for our violent subjugation, and many of them are trying to come up with various ways to prevent us from discussing it, and they have a death penalty for people leaving Islam, and as they spread, if they're ever able to impose Islamic law, it will be death sentences for apostates, for critics. They have teachings like beating women into submission and marrying prepubescent girls and so on. So is that enough, or like, do we need to focus? I mean, do you need to focus on more information? Like what?
I don't know. It seems like a good amount right there. I can't think of anything else. I mean, like, yeah, there's just more of them, and they're more. I mean, Mormonism is a problem. I'm not going to pretend it isn't. It's just we got to have priorities. We can't do multiple things at one time. Stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. In other words, if you have basically, between a quarter and a fifth of the world's population, and their ideology calls for your violent subjugation, and once they win an area, really hard to get it back, and people are horribly treated forever once they get control. That would seem like a pretty high priority to me. Not the two guys showing up on bicycles wanting to talk about their book.
Yeah. Made a video of pagan history of Islam. Would love your critique. Thanks for shielding us against Islam. So what your channel is, Edge of Truth. Yeah, I'll try to check it out. Let me subscribe. Thanks, IP and David Wood. I repost your critiques of Islam, and comment it in French to make it known. Keep up the good work. Zut, zut, zut. It's awesome. Keep doing it, man.
Nice.
We appreciate that. Yeah. Keep doing it. Keep getting that stuff out. Thoughts on Andy Bannister? Isn't he like a Christian apologist in England who does a lot of stuff on Islam?
Did he move to Canada? Canada's coming up in my mind, but no, Andy's been around. Andy's been around for a while. No, he's good.
No, he's good. Yeah. No problem with him here. Momo in the Bible, he is a false prophet. You see? Yes, this is the proof. I started to panic when I heard God Logic saying that you're going to be going to Michigan. Please stay safe. Hey, David, are you going to Michigan as well?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Hijab converting Christian on live stream now. Muhammad hijab, is that what you mean? He's currently live doing a Q&A.
Weird. He could have just called us and shown us where Muhammad is in the Bible.
I know. Let's see what's going on. So, all right, guys. I don't have anything else. Anything else you want to cover before we're done here?
No, just again, weird to me. Weird stuff. Allah says, you Jews and Christians, here's why you need to believe in Muhammad. He's in your book. We say, we don't find him. Could someone show us where?
Mm-hmm. And they can't, they cannot show it.
They can never manage to show us. And then we're supposedly in trouble because, so what? We're going to be in trouble on Judgment Day because Muslims can't show us where the Quran is right. That's weird, man. It's weird stuff. And they won't, and they don't even try. But it's another situation where if some random person showed up on TikTok or something and said, I don't know anything about Islam, the Quran, or anything else. I'm just wondering, I heard that Muhammad's in the Bible. Where's that? Suddenly they would know all kinds of passages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wild stuff, man. I don't know. But anyway, we got nothing else. I'm going to close this out. I'll be on in 10 if you're not scared. What? Wait, why not just come on now? Like, what do you?
Yeah, we're not sitting around for 10 minutes because you said, we're see if you're not scared. We've been sitting here for almost 2.5 hours.
Yeah, 2.5 hours, man. And if you want us to just sit here, very rude, man. I don't know what to tell you.
I'll be on there in 2 hours. If you're not scared, just wait for me. No.
So anyway, I'm going to get some food, close this out. Appreciate everybody coming. Again, no evidence Muhammad's in the Bible, just the way it is. I don't have to tell people. So we'll see you guys Thursday. Than and I will be live doing a call-in stream on Jesus is God. So we'll see you guys then. Thanks for coming, everyone. You made it to the end of this video, which means this message matters to you. If you want to see more content like this reaching people for Christ, you can help make it happen. Your support makes these videos possible. Click the link below and donate today. And if you want to go even deeper, consider joining our Patreon community. You'll get early access to videos, behind-the-scenes content, and a place to connect with others passionate about this mission.